Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is.
Good morning and welcome to the AM News on Independent Television. I am Chukufum Nanya Digwe. Now, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has emphasized the need for Nigerians to live in peace, unity and love as the nation celebrates the sacrifices of armed forces personnel in defense of the nation. The Senate President stated this at the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day Interdenominational Church Service at the National Christian Center in Abuja. Joseph Kaduri has the details.
These are special prayers offered for the nation's leadership, armed forces serving personnel, and veterans for the sacrifices for the nation's unity and peace. Special songs were rendered at the special interdenominational church service and Bible reading. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who was represented by the Deputy Chief Whip, Senator Nwamboye Oyenka, as the service praises the Nigerian Armed Forces sacrifices for maintaining the peace and unity of the nation.
It is my privilege to join this gathering of great body of Christ as we reflect, pray for, and honor our brothers and sisters who lay down their lives for the security of our country, Nigeria. The blood of our valiant heroes and heroines serves and will continue to serve as the seed of our national unity and progress, just as the blood of the martyrs in the seed of Christianity serves as gateway to heaven.
Defense Minister General Christopher says armed forces personnel deserve support from all Nigerians as they continue to save the country with courage.
We honor with deep reverence the brave men and women who paid their supreme price in service to our nation. We also celebrate those who continue to serve with courage and dedication, including the spouses and the family members. We say a very big thank you. To the spouses especially, we commend you for keeping the home front, and we assure you of our commitment in ensuring that your welfare and well-being are not forgotten. The President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria is doing everything possible to ensure that the Armed Forces of Nigeria and indeed other security agencies are well taken care of, well equipped.
The church service was for prayers to be offered for armed forces members, families, and veterans. From Abuja, Osato Igiwi, ITV News.
Now, some natives of Ikboma in Isan West local government area have condemned the destruction of properties by protesters during a demonstration against incessant kidnapping and the recent killing of a student who was abducted and later murdered. Francisca Igenebale reports that the palace of the Onoje of Ekpoma was not spared as it was vandalized and occupants chased out. The report is presented by Efusa Nwangwe.
The protest by students over the abduction and subsequent killing of their colleague initially began peacefully. However, it later took a drastic turn when the protesters blocked the major road leading to the northern part of the country. The situation further degenerated as the protest spread into the main town. The palace of the Onoje of Ekpoma, His Royal Highness Anthony Abumeri, was attacked and severely vandalized. Some occupants of the palace who fled for their lives upon sighting the protesters described the experience as terrifying.
Destroy everything in the compound, to the office windows.
Coming to the palace of the Royal Highness of Ekpoma Kingdom to do destruction, I don't think this is a solution to the problem.
Group of boys, over I can't even name the number, multitude. They already invaded the palace, broke the palace door, the gate, and they invaded the palace up to the inner side.
It surprised us, you understand? Because no be here, we
the Kinabi people they stay.
The wife of the Onoji of Ekpoma was not as fortunate as she was reportedly assaulted by the protesters while properties worth millions of naira were destroyed. The Onoji of Ekpoma, His Royal Highness Anthony Abumere, who was not at the palace during the incident, expressed deep sorrow over the attack and lamented the extent of damage done to the palace and his family property. According to him, he had earlier addressed the protesters before leaving the palace, only to be informed later that they had returned and attacked his residence. The chairman of Esan West Local Government Area, Honorable Blessing Egodari, visited the palace following the incident and strongly condemned the violent acts.
As at 2 months ago, the thing was more than this. We are working to some level to reduce this, so that to take it easy. Those ones that are doing condemned iron, we have banned them.
Meanwhile, authorities have called for calm and restraint as the investigation into the incident continues. From Ekpoma, Efosa Wangwe, ITV News.
Still on security matters, Edo State Police Command has recorded significant operational breakthroughs within the past week, including the successful rescue of kidnapped victims through the first drone-assisted operation in the state. According to a statement released by the command's public relations officer ASP Ino Ikoidem, a kidnapping incident was reported at Igbojo Ikai Bigbo community in Isako West local government area, prompting the immediate deployment of operatives from the Jatu division in collaboration with local vigilantes and hunters. In a landmark move, the Commissioner of Police, Mondi Agbonika, activated the Eagle Combat Drone Unit for its first rescue operation, which provided real-time aerial intelligence and led to the location of the kidnappers' camp in the early hours of January 9th, 2026. Police operatives subsequently stormed the area, forcing the kidnappers to flee and abandon 2 locally fabricated AK-49 rifles. 9 victims, comprising 1 adult male, 3 adult females, and 5 children, were rescued unhurt. In a related development, 7 members of an armed robbery gang linked to the killing of a POS operator along Murtala Mohammed Way off Saple Road, Benin City, were arrested by operatives of the Eagle Raider Squad. Weapons and a vehicle allegedly used in the operation were recovered, while the suspects reportedly confessed to cult-related activities. Further operations led to the recovery of a stolen Lexus 330 SUV and the arrest of 1 suspect connected to an armed robbery and abduction syndicate, while another suspected armed robber was arrested in Ogege community off Saple Road bypass, with firearms recovered. The police command also announced the arrest of suspects involved in an alleged child trafficking syndicate in Urumi, where a newborn baby was safely recovered and evidence of a financial transaction seized. Now, the Edo State government has described the abduction and killing of Dr. Abu Momo Tahir in Auchi as unfortunate and deeply regrettable, assuring the public that the incident will not weaken the state's resolve to combat kidnapping and other crimes. In a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Dr. Patrick Ebujili, the government noted that kidnapping remains a serious concern and has continued to receive focused attention. The statement highlighted the recent bushcombing security operations across Auchi, Agene Bode, Okbila, Fuga, and Onwa areas, which led to the arrest and ongoing prosecutions as evidence of the government's commitment to safety. The government called on residents to support security agencies through timely intelligence sharing and expressed condolences to the family of Dr. Abu Momo Tahir, assuring that those responsible will be brought to justice. Christians have been reminded of the significance of baptism as the foundation of the Christian faith and a call to live a righteous life. The exhortation was given during the Sunday Mass at St. Gabriel the Archangel Catholic Church, Saple Road, Benin City. The Honorary Romanian Consul to Edo and Delta States of Nigeria, His Excellency, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Sawari Benijon, was among parishioners who attended the Mass.
Informally, the assistant parish priest, Reverend Father Philip Oaihena, said that baptism is a sacrament of redemption through which God extends his grace to mankind, cleansing believers of original sin and marking them permanently as children of God.
Baptism washes us of original sin, as the Catechism tells us. While it washes us of original sin, it gives us this opportunity to be redeemed by our Lord.
Reverend Father Oaihena pointed out that while the baptism of John the Baptist was a call to repentance, the baptism of Jesus Christ revealed him as the Messiah and opened the path to salvation for humanity, stressing that Christians cannot receive the Holy Spirit without baptism.
The second reason why Jesus came to be baptized today, friends, is that the baptism of Jesus afforded John the Baptist the opportunity to recognize him as the Messiah.
Members of the household of the Esama of Benin attended the Mass. Prayers were offered for peace, unity, and progress in Edo State and the nation. From Benin, Ofuri and Neto, ITV News.
In another report, the third edition of Okada in Diaspora Ikala Deha Day has been held in midst pomp and ceremony. Pius Nsogo reports that the event afforded indigents the opportunity to celebrate the founding fathers of Okada and those who have contributed to its development, including the Esama of Benin, an honorary Romanian consul to Edo and Delta states of Nigeria, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawari Igbenedion.
It was a day to celebrate unity, tradition, culture and progress, as well as love for their roots. Different ethnic groups resident in Okada, including the Igbos and the Urhobos alike, trooped out to be part of the epoch-making ceremony. In an address, Chairman of Okada in Diaspora, Mr. Victor Igbenosa, described Okada as a land of promise, blessed with fertile soil, natural resources, and endless possibilities. He commended the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawari Igbenedion, for his role in taking Okada to global stage.
The Esama of Benin Kingdom, Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawari Igbenedion, a father, a builder, and the pillar of Okada destiny. The Ojawere of Okada and the Council of Elders, custodian of our tradition and the moral compass of our community.
Some members of the community, including the diaspora chairman, were honored with award of recognition for their contributions to the development of Okada.
All elders are present. Okada women are down there. They are all present. It signifies the new orientation within the community.
Because of the team my daddy used to contribute to the community, we say thank you to Okada community and in diaspora.
The Odionwe of Okada, Pastor Samson Ide, comments on the success of the ceremony, while some residents sued for its sustenance.
Those who have traveled out, they were able to organize this. I congratulate them.
With the youth, we are glad.
I'm happy to be in our land, Okada. This is where I was born.
The event was so successful. It was so great.
Okada is the administrative headquarters of Ovia Northeast Local Government Area of Edo State. With abundant human and material resources, Okada boasts of the first private university in the country and also a viable private teaching hospital. From Okada, the administrative headquarters of Ovia Northeast Local Government, Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
Moving on, old students of Good Luck Secondary Comprehensive School have held their second reunion party. Jonah Omorwa reports that the school proprietor, alongside some teachers, graced the occasion.
The essence of a reunion is to reconnect and strengthen bonds. It is also a time for sharing laughter and making new memories with classmates who have not seen one another in a long while. This was evident as old students of Good Luck Secondary Comprehensive School, Benin City, gathered at Uyi Grand Hotel, beautifully dressed in their old school uniforms, to have fun, to reflect on their school days. In their brief remarks, the school proprietor Franklin Arama and the school accounts teacher Gerard Omege urged the old students to remain worthy ambassadors of the school.
Whatever you do it well. Always try to embrace yourself, because no matter your life situation, one day you will find help when there is no help.
I am happy to stand here before you to tell you thank you.
In their comments, some of the old students expressed satisfaction with the success of the reunion.
The essence of us gathering here is for us to know ourselves, because we have been out of school some for the past 40 years, some 35, some 30 years. As a matter of fact, we are all scattered all over the world. No, we passed through ourselves and we wouldn't even know that this one or the other one attended that school. So we deem it necessary for us to come together and have our reunion.
The essence of this gathering is to know each other the more.
The essence of this gathering is that we want to get ourselves together, because it's long we left the school about 25 years ago.
We are here to familiarize with ourselves, to know ourselves, reunion, to know ourselves from set to set.
The event featured march past, class lectures, entertainment, dance, and other side attractions. From Benin, Jonah Omowa, ITV News.
Now, in a religious report, the spiritual leader and general overseer of Christ Chosen Church of God International, Senior Apostle Dr. David Nwefe Ikwiwu, has advised believers in Christ to be vessels of honor in their various callings and wherever they find themselves. The man of God gave this admonition during a church service held at the main auditorium of the Cathedral of Christ Chosen Church of God International, located along Benin Asaba Road, Benin City. Jolade Ojo has the details.
The choir rendered melodious gospel songs to the delight of the congregation in a sermon titled My Year of Breakthrough. Senior Apostle David Nwefe emphasized that good character combined with healthy relationships is the surest pathway to breakthrough for a child of God. He noted that many people attend church, yet they do not truly believe in the existence of God, nor do they obey His commandments. According to him, such individuals do not genuinely acknowledge Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. The General Overseer further warned believers to be mindful of their actions and words, stressing that everything is recorded before God. He reminded the congregation that these records will be used to judge every individual on the last day.
We have people that have the love of the nation in their hearts. Day and night, they walk out, they pray and say, what do I do to make this nation to be great? What do I do to make my state to be good? And what do I do to make the church where I worship to be great? And then work out God's glory, that those who follow my footsteps can make heaven. Are you a vessel of honor or a vessel of dishonor? Are you going to be noted for notoriety in this year, 2026? This is a year that we should all be conscious of what we do, of what we say.
From Benin, Jolade Ojo, ITV News.
In another religious report, Christians have been told that there are standard skills that the Almighty God has bequeathed on everyone, and that is why all must positively contribute to the growth and development of the church. The resident pastor of God's Historic Church, GRA Benin City, Reverend Usamu Jame Afe, stated this on Sunday in a sermon titled, Everyone Must Work for the Growth of the Body of Christ. The report by Usamu Yogbomo is presented by Ikpongusa Ugyagbe.
The resident pastor of God's Historic Church, GRA Benin City, Reverend Osamudame Afe, in a sermon titled, "Everyone Must Work for the Growth of the Body of Christ," explained that every Christian has one or more skills that God has given to him or her when that person became born again or surrendered his or her life to God Almighty. The man of God said that is why some leaders of the early church till today were missionaries who were evangelizing and spreading the gospel from one place to another, while others are prophets as well as teachers, with all of them working assiduously to expand the kingdom by winning souls to the Lord Jesus Christ. He urged members of the church to identify areas where they work for the Lord Jesus Christ and help to spread the word of God.
There is one Lord, one faith, one baptism. There is one God and Father of all people, who is Lord of all, walks through all, and is in all.
The church's choir was on ground to sing to the glory of God. From Benin, Ikmamosa Ugiagbe, ITV News.
Moving on, in many African cultures, a life well lived is not mourned in silence, but celebrated with dignity, color, and pride. Family members, friends, and prominent personalities from different walks of life on Saturday gathered at the Crown Heights Event Center along Country Home Motel Road, Benin City, to honor the memory of late Pa Kelly Ayiku, who passed away at the age of 86. Donald Emie has the details.
In many parts of Nigeria, particularly within traditional African societies, social dance is more than mere entertainment. It is a language and cultural medium through which stories are told, emotions expressed, and legacies preserved for generations. For the Ayiku family, the decision to bid farewell to Pa Kelly Ayiku through an elaborate show dance was both symbolic and historic. Pa Kelly Ayiku was described by many, including some of his children, as a quiet force, a man whose influence was felt more through action than words.
He has been able to unite all the family together. They all loved him. That's why every one of the children, they are all here.
He was a living legend. He was my friend. All he ever did was cares about his children.
He's been a wonderful man, and he's strict, disciplined, and at the same time, he's a very jovial man.
As a man that has discipline and the fear of God, he brought us up with those values, and we really, really thank him for that.
He was a daddy to everybody. He was a father figure. He was a friendly daddy.
Among the dignitaries present at the ceremony was the Executive Director, Operations, Independent Television and Radio, Chief Eda Ogbede Unwose, alongside other notable personalities. Beyond his immediate family, the late Pa Kelly Ayiku was regarded as a dependable advisor, a community pillar, and a father figure to many who were not biologically his own. From Benin, Donald Ehiminyeng, ITV News.
Moving on, combating insecurity to ensure a crime-free 2026 was the focus of a recent general meeting of elders, youths, landlords, and landladies of Obaretin community, Ibuba Oka local government area, Edo State. The meeting, which is the first in the year, was to chart a way forward for Obaretin community. The report by Solomon Abuge is presented by Ikmomusa Ugiagbe.
Security is said to be the basis for peaceful coexistence and development, which is why elders, youths, landlords and landladies of Obaretin community in Ikpobaoha local government area of Edo State met at the community town hall to strategize towards fighting insecurity. Various speakers at the meeting commended the youths led by Ambassador Dr. Osaboye Nwawu, the Okayele, for their quick response to distress calls. They also commended the peace being enjoyed in Obaretin community and appealed for its sustenance. the Ozukbogiva in Obaetin community, that is the second eldest man, and others comment at the end of the meeting.
This community, we are proud of the Okarile. We, the elders, we are with him. He's doing here is marvelous. We enjoy every doing here, both the indigenous and non-indigenous.
Being the first meeting of the year, the elders decided to call all landlord and landladies to hold a brief security meetings and talk about the way forward of the community, how we are going to put our heads together to tackle insecurity. Some of the landlord and landlady appreciate the little that we have done, because as far as this community is concerned, Obaetin is a very peaceful community. So our landlord and landladies in this community sleep with their two eyes closed.
The community is peaceful, and I've enjoyed my stay right from the very first phase of the foundation till this time. Basically, I must commend the Okarile of this community. Is really trying. All the security structures, measures they put in place, they are all working fine.
There's peace, so I'm advising other landlord and landlady that everything is all right.
They appealed to the public to invest in Obaetin as the community is very peaceful. Ikmomosa Ugiagbe, ITV News.
Now, with that report, we've come to the end of the AM News on Independent Television. I am Chukufum Nanya Digwe. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning.
This is Anegbete community, situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set roll out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
Good morning, Nigeria. It's another wonderful Monday, and we're live on TMI on the ITV network, where we get to give you an analysis and insight on the twists and turns of the social and political space of Nigeria. I am Chukwufumnanya Digwe, and I'll be broadcasting live from our Benin Network Center. As you know, the conversation stems across our 3 network centers. We give you analysis here in Benin. We also turn to our Lagos Network Center and also Abuja, giving you very in-depth analysis on all the happenings all around Nigeria and even globally. Yes, it's another wonderful Monday, like I did say, and there is a lot to talk about. So right here in Edo State, we've seen the spate of insecurity in Edo Central. We've also seen the results and the attention that has come out of all of that. I'm not going to be doing this alone. Like I did just say, we span across our 3 network centers, Lagos, Abuja, and here in Benin. And I have my colleague in our Lagos Network Center standing by to also join in the conversation this morning. A wonderful morning to you, Messelina.
Good morning, Chukwumfunaya. Good to see you this beautiful morning.
Same here. Now, how is Lagos? How are things in Lagos? And also, what's the conversation going to be like over there?
Lagos is pretty good. I mean, good weather. It's a beautiful day here in Lagos. New year, and we're excited. Okay, this morning from Lagos, I mean, I saw the kidnapping in Benin, in Ekpoma recently, and at the time I'm like, with insecurity end in Nigeria, I mean, we're hoping and praying that one day the issue of insecurity finally ends in the country. I mean, kidnapping and all of that, it is really alarming. And those families that those people that have been kidnapped, it's saddening, in the hearts of the families, seeing, I mean, nobody would want to see or see that the family member is being kidnapped, asking for ransom. And I don't know what actually the government is doing about it. This insecurity level in the country is becoming alarming. But that would not be our main focus from Lagos. Our main focus from Lagos this beautiful morning is, for ahead of the forthcoming 2027 election, we saw that some, political groups from political parties, they've started campaigning, which by the law, you're not supposed to campaign, except it is like 150 days to election. And we still have time, and they're campaigning, which is not supposed to be like that. I mean, INEC has come out to warn this particular persons, these particular political parties that have been campaigning that it is not right. I mean, it's not proper, except 150 to the day of election. That is when you're supposed to start campaigning, and a lot of political parties have started campaigning. What does it mean? Some persons are saying, are they using this medium, this means, this campaigning stuff to, distract the people, citizen, from what is currently happening in the country in terms of insecurity, which is a major problem. So we're going to be having an analyst today that would help us analyze to this topic. So basically from Lagos, that is what we would be looking at, early campaigning when it is not yet time, you know, for election. I mean, INEC has not come out to say yet that you need to start campaign, but people, political parties, they've started campaigning. So from Lagos, basically, that will be our main focus.
Thank you, Marcelina. I do hear you. I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen political actors across several states of the country act on their own political will and machinations, overriding legal powers, and also, you know, just focusing on political power play rather than actual governance. Thank you so much for your insights on what you'll be having on your end today. In the studio right now, I have Dr. Sonny Duke Okosun. We'll get to meet him later on. And I also have in our Abuja Network Center, Iharata on standby to, you know, greet us this morning and also tell us what is up on his end. Good morning, Iharata.
Chukwu from Naya Adigwe and my very nice sister Marcelina. Indeed, a very wonderful, splendid, great Monday morning here. Luckily for us in Abuja, I don't know how Benin is, but the Harmattan haze in the past 3 days had been very, very heavy. The weather is cold, and most persons around the city are finding it cozy to sleep and sleep for so long in the Federal Capital Territory. I hope that in Benin you are feeling the Harmattan haze, and those in Lagos are also feeling it. I see some persons had come up, including Daddy Freeze, to say, look, this year there was no Harmattan, that even on New Year they got rainfall, that they should give them back their Harmattan or their winter. But Abuja is cool and good this morning. Our focus will still be on what was raised, which is the issue of national security. You know, for sure, it's not looking very good at the moment if we juxtapose that with what transpired in some states around maybe some part of Niger, some parts of Zamfara. The killings appears to be on, although not so much reported. Maybe President Trump will need to make another statement or retweet his old tweet to get everyone to wake up and be running. And looking at what happened in Ekpoma, Edo State, which is not also looking good. You saw the rampage, the street riot, the billboard vandalization, the raid on the cattle market not too far from AAU medical school there, and so much things that did not go well. And you see the one that happened yesterday evening also, the abduction. So I think we're looking at this holistically, nationally, and hoping that we'll find solution. And like what Marcelina raised from Lagos, an early campaign is on. Everyone appeared deeply focused on what will be at the end of this year, just opposing into next year's election. They are so focused on it that they need to go back a little and focus on how to secure the country and get things moving. Because for now it appears 2 years ago, immediately after the last election, everyone gets there for the next election, and politicians and public office holders are too overwhelmed, too glued to electoral campaign and desire to capture power in 2027. So we'll be looking at that and hoping that we'll get that those who are supposed to listen should listen, from the defense minister, the service chiefs, the security chiefs at the national level and the sub-national level will listen and take action to save the lives of persons, because Article 14, subsection 2 states very clearly that the primary purpose of governance is the security, one, and welfare of citizens. So Chukwufunaya, we are good to run.
Very well. Thank you for giving us insights on what your discourse is going to be this morning. And just a comment on your talk about the weather, about Harmattan in Abuja right now. That will be cheering news, because we're beginning to get very concerned for climate change and the ozone layer. And it's also very great to see that you are going to be focusing this morning on something that is very critical, the national security crisis that we're having right now in the country. I did tell you that I have Dr. Sonny Duke with me in the studio. A wonderful morning to you, Dr. Sonny Duke.
Good morning, Chukwufunaya. You know, this morning I woke up and I was going to sing one favorite song done by Majek Fashek, the Sky looks misty and cloudy.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like the rain is going to fall today. But of course, there's not going to be rain. It's the usual signs that the Harmattan is finally eventually coming. But by the time I got to other parts of town, I saw the impacts of dew. It was a bit foggy this morning, so let's hope that the Harmattan eventually will come, because I've been looking for it. And Ikaro gave us insight into the weather situation in Abuja today, that the weather is very cold, but back here it's terribly, terribly hot. And that's because the Harmattan hasn't really come on strong. But we hope that it will manifest strongly in the days to come, and then we'll enjoy it. And now, the average politician always think about the next election, and that's why you're seeing all of these things happening. It looks like governance has been abandoned by those who are saddled with the responsibilities of governance, and so you are having insecurity metamorphosing into a monster that is taking its toll on the nation, until President Donald Trump gave orders for those strikes in Sokoto and in Kaduna State. Yes, the army, the armed forces, they were doing their best. We didn't see more of those activities like we've seen post-strikes from Donald Trump. That's why Ikara was saying that perhaps we need
a statement from him
to rejig everybody or retweak everybody and to bring that energy on board. I mean, I'm deeply concerned by what has been happening in Ekpoma. That's my hometown. That's where I grew up. And it used to be a very peaceful environment where people who go to farm can go to farm, I mean, go harvest crops or go plant crops, as the case may be. But we are seeing that these marauders, these terrorists, they have left the hinterlands, the forests, the bushes. They are literally, you know, in the town where they can't pick at any time they feel like, and then they disappear. I mean, you saw the video that has been trending online, how they came through a cassava farm and then picked somebody up. The other day, they picked somebody up. When the vigilantes tried to mobilize to go after the person, they eventually killed the person. And then they are making demands as ransom in the region of 200 million, 500 million, 300 million.
Very unimaginable.
I mean, it beats my imagination. And that's why you saw that protest, you know, that led to destruction of property. We heard some people were killed, and then the Hausa community settlement where they were also attacked, and some of their animals were killed, some were carted away. I mean, it was a crazy situation, because you see, when good people sit down and do nothing, evil prevails. And when something takes a pattern and it runs for a long time, and there's an inaction from government to respond to that issue, people are literally going to take the laws into their hands. I mean, we are not recommending that. We're not commending them for the destruction of properties or cutting away of animals. It's their way of responding. It's the frustration that they have experienced in the last couple of years, because in time past you hear some of these activities taking place in the forest, in Idoa, in Ewu, in Ile, in Emaldo, in Uhun, in Ekpoma, all of those areas. These things have been ongoing, even in Iraq. But there were days that people went to farm and they were killed, they were raped, their bodies were dismembered by these, you know, terrorists. These things have been going on for such a long time. But now, because a tangential response hasn't come from those in authority all this while, what did you see? These guys are moving into town to start picking people at will. I mean, it has to stop, and government needs to sit up to respond to these issues. We'll be having a resident of Ekpoma, who is also a civil society activist, Dr. Jude Obasumi, talk to us this morning about the situation in Ekpoma. And then, of course, the 2027 election, with the issue of party defections here and there, will also be a talking point. We'll have a former PRP governorship candidate, Patience Ndidiki, will be joining us virtually from the U.S. to engage that one, more with the fact that we're seeing the seeming abandonment of governance on the altar of 2027 election, which seems to be a preoccupation of major stakeholders in the build-up to 2027. Chukwufinaya.
All right, thank you so much for all of those. In fact, that's robust insights to all that's happening, especially in Edo Central right now, from Auchi to Ekpoma. It's just so mind-boggling.
It's so crazy.
And it's very sad, honestly, that our government, instead of focusing on the governance of the day, what their problem is 2027, the election of 2027. There is this saying by Eleanor Roosevelt where she says, if you can look at someone suffering and say, you cannot imagine yourself in that position, is like saying, who cares? So is our government saying, who cares? We'll get to talk more about this today on the program TMI on the ITV network. We'll now take an intermission and be back with our newspaper review segment. Stay with us. ITV on the ITV network. It's now time for our newspaper review segment where we get to take a look at our national dailies and find out what the headlines are saying. We'll start from our first newspaper. Daily Trust happens to be our first point of call. Major headline there says Katsina defends release of 70 bandits. Another headline there says Sarki Olubadan to lead 23rd Daily Trust dialogue. Also on Daily Trust newspaper, you see 22 die in Abuja Kaduna road crashes. Now those are the stories on Daily Trust newspaper. You can read all about it if you grab yourself a copy.
Okay, thank you, Chukwufinaya. And then we'll move on to the Punch newspaper, where we also have very amazing, interesting stories. And just to let you know, we're hoping to have Dr. Daniel Haraifo, the head of the Department of Mass Communication, University of Benin, join us shortly, virtually, to give more insights into these stories before we bring this segment to a close by 7:30. But let's look at what we have on the Punch. It says, Wike ends LG tours. Assembly alleges plot to stall Fubara's impeachment. Well, it's fire for fire, all right? And I saw a picture recently, a caricature, cartoon, so to speak, where Wiki was hanging up there with one leg in the PDP and another leg in the APC.
Those two are another good characterization of misplaced priorities. And
then you have Fubara under him, asking him to come down. It was a very funny sight. We'll look at that in the course of the show, but let's take a look at more stories on the Punch newspaper. Of course, our first story on Wike, you get that story on page 3. All right, and then we have INEC faces legal heat over missing 55.9 billion naira 2019 election funds. You have that on page 24. And the guy who was in the saddle has since been blessed and appreciated with an ambassadorial slot by the government of the day. All right, so the INEC faces a legal hit over a missing 55.9 billion naira. You find out on page 24. Chimamanda's solicitors write Lagos hospital doctor suspended. That's on page 45. There's no end in sight on that story. Quite sad, really, really sad. Okay, 2026 budget twist. MDAs inject 3.5 trillion naira new projects despite FG freeze. That's on page 3. And the writer there says power, transport, health dominate new spending as fresh projects take 15% of capital budget. More on the Punch newspaper. We've got this story. It says FG proposes 41 billion naira to upgrade 109 foreign missions on page 24 as well. Then finally on the Punch newspaper, it says Armed Forces Day, FG governors hail soldiers' sacrifices. Interestingly, these sacrifices by the armed forces are still ongoing with the war against bandits, war against terrorists, and all those criminal elements across the country. I mean, the number of members of the armed forces that have gone into the world beyond is quite buckling and very, very disturbing. And of course, our heart goes out to the families of those who've lost their loved ones, especially those in the armed forces, sacrificing their lives to ensure peace and stability in our dear country, Nigeria. Our next port of call on the paper's review segment is the Nigerian Tribune, and Chukwufunanya has that one.
Okay, for a major headline on the Nigerian Tribune there, it says federal government set to end ASU crisis. Underneath it reads, to sign fresh agreements January 14, approves 40% salary increase for academic staff, deal to include revamped university funding model. Also on Nigerian Tribune, another story there, Musfuang still holding PDP mandate despite defection, says Young. Also warns INEC on interference on party affairs. Another story there is 2027. Kwankwanso will not be allowed to contest on our platform, and this is said by NNPP against the backdrop of the 2027 elections. Also on Nigerian Tribune, a headline there says Kwame writes Abiodun over exclusion from Awu Jale nomination process. Also on Nigerian Tribune, we have another headline which states how illegal miners, bandits combine to attack Old Oyo National Park. Attack is retaliation arrest of illegal miners, why attackers destroyed Forest Guards detention camp. And those are the stories on Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, we'll move away from the Nigerian Tribune. Let's talk a bit of business as we look at Business Day. What are the top stories here? How big banks scaled recapitalization hurdle ahead March deadline. That's on the front page of Business Day. More for you. Nigeria's food storage gap adds to farmers' woes. I mean, that has been a recurring decimal as far as I can remember. Because of lack of use storage, there's always post-harvest losses running into billions of naira, and that's certainly not the way to go. If we're producing much, we must be able to provide structures and facilities for these food substances to be adequately stored so we can continue to have them. But it's now one of the biggest woes facing farmers in Nigeria. All right, more on Business Day. LNG exports hit 5-year high on rising feed gas supply. All right, you want more of that story? Get a copy of business day. And now, if you are a banker or a financial analyst or a businessman, you should be interested in the graph that you have there on Business Day on the front page, which is showing the Tier 1 bank capital raise in millions of naira from Access Bank, Zenith Bank, GT Bank, and then of course UBA. These are the big banks that have been able to meet up with the recapitalization threshold of 500 billion naira and above. Those are mega bucks, really mega bucks, right? Okay, let's move on to our next paper for review on this day.
All right, this day headlines there. Just atop of the paper, it says, federal government targets 189 billion naira in national assets sale to plug 2026 budget funding gap. Works agree to receive lion's share of 3 trillion naira, 1 trillion naira for capital projects, presidency to spend 100.5 billion naira, NSA gets 286 billion naira in capex. Now, those are some of the appropriations of the 189 billion naira in national assets. Now, move on to the next headline, which says, governors celebrate Armed Forces Remembrance Day, hail Tinubu's devotion. President prioritizes welfare, equipment of armed forces, says Defense Minister. Also, you see Akpabio and the National Assembly working with executives to restore peace and security. Also on this day newspaper, a major headline there, Chimamanda serves legal notice over son's death, Sanwo-Olu orders probe. Author demands certified copies of all medical records. Wadu addresses alleged inconsistencies in Care's statements. Now, this is a very sad story of how the deficit in our healthcare sector has once again come to bite a very prominent Nigeria.
Yeah, it's gaining traction, gaining attention because, like you said, she's a very prominent Nigerian and an international figure. I mean, these are influencers. When they speak, the world listens. But I can tell you, this is something that happens across Nigeria due to poor facilities, lack of personnel, lack of infrastructure. People just die unnecessarily. You also have wrong diagnosis. When you have wrong diagnosis, you have wrong treatment, all right? So these are things that are common in our society today because of some of the shortcomings and the failings that we have in the society. And I'm sure Eurocare, they have something they will learn new as a result of the legal action being taken against them. If actually after the investigation and then the back and forth, they are found guilty, definitely they are going to pay heavily for it. And that's because Chimamanda Adichie has the means and the resources to drive this litigation. I mean, go through that process. If it's someone who is from a poor background, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the means,
so go silent.
I mean, he will just go silent and then leave it to God. Yeah.
Well, bad to see, but good to see that they're actually being chokeholded this time around. Now, in more stories coming from this day newspaper, we see a resounding endorsement of Mr. President. Our former, talking about the photo, the left of the former governor of Enugu State, Honorable Ifeanyi Ugwanu. Also in that photo, you have the former president of the Senate, Senator Anyim, Pius Anyim, and Senator Ken Nani, among other people at the helm of affairs. Now, let's move on to our next newspaper. Dr. Sonny Duke.
Thank you, Chukwufinaya. Let's look at what we have on our last paper for this segment, Vanguard newspaper. We've got a lot of interesting stories as usual. Just on top of the Vanguard logo, we've got insecurity, release of 70 bandits sparks outrage in Katsina, 6 killed in Niger, Sokoto communities. This is really the joke of the century. When we hear things like this, we want to know the circumstances surrounding this release, if they've been tagged and described as bandits, which means they are terrorists. So what is the grounds for them being released back into the fold, into the system, to continue with their nefarious activities of killing, of maiming, of looting, and of raping the common people in Katsina State? So we need some explanation. Iran, 466 killed, 2,638 detained. And what's the story there? Tehran vows to retaliate if U.S. strikes, blames foreign terrorists for protest. I'm sure you've been following this story on Iran and the protest that has greeted that country, and the people have taken to the streets. Over 250 cities have been touched by these protests. But in my perspective, I feel that the Ayatollah Khomeini, who is the leader of the country, his end to a large extent has come, because this is a guy or a country that has been focusing on sponsoring terrorism across the world. For Hamas is there, in Lebanon is there, Houthis in Yemen is there, name it. Any place, any area where you have terrorism, do your investigation. Probably will find the fingertips or the fingerprints or footprints of Iran there. So what are the people saying? They are saying the resources that you're using to fight these proxy wars and sponsor terrorism, why don't you use it to develop us? The country is tied down by heavy sanctions coming from the US and other Western countries. And the little resources that is coming, you are spending it on frivolities of sponsoring terrorism, of trying to propagate your own personal agenda. In Iran, water is an essential commodity. Water is an essential commodity because the facilities and the structures, they're gone. Electricity is also an essential commodity. I mean, inflation is almost about 40% in Iran, with this kind of irresponsibility of government. But you're seeing now that the people have taken to the streets to protest this sort of irresponsible leadership that has made life very, very difficult for them. So I wanted to see how the government will survive what's happening here. And Donald Trump is also breathing on their neck, saying, look, we want to ensure that this protest is peaceful. If the government of Tehran decides to start killing people, shooting people who are protesting, they will have no choice but to intervene. And that will bring more catastrophe for the people there. But let's look at more stories here on Vanguard. It says LG accounts, Oshun files charges against bank officials, hearing holds on January 30. And still on Vanguard newspaper, Rivers crisis, why I said dogs are barking, Fubara. That's on page 5. And the writer there says, Tinubu can sack me if I can no longer offer anything. This is coming from Wike. Wike Amahuele avoid impeachment comment at Port Harcourt rally. There's a plot to stop legislative proceedings. It's coming from Rivers Assembly. Tinubu broke education pact, abandoned students abroad, Atiku alleges. All right, more on this story if you got a copy of Vanguard. NMA votes media trial over Chimamanda's son's death. So interest is coming into that story. All right, and then let's look at this story. Loan to manufacturers shrink to 2.1 trillion naira, drop in 5 sectors, 17.5% to 16.43 trillion naira in 6 months. That's the much we have for you on this segment of the show, the newspapers review. We'll take a break. Dr. Jude Obasome will be joining us shortly as we look at the insecurity situation in Ekpoma and, of course, Edo Central in general, against the background of the spate of kidnappings there, which led to a protest that degenerated into violence and the destruction and killings in Ekpoma, the administrative headquarters of East and West Local Government Council. We'll be back with you in just a moment on TMI on the ITV network. Please stay.
This is Anegbete community situated in Isako Central Local Government area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set rolled out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves.
On Saturday, residents of Ekpoma took to the street to protest the incessant kidnapping activities by terrorists who perpetually has taken a hold on the town, and with the overhang of a seeming inaction by security agencies to deal decisively with the issue. The protest eventually turned violent, with properties destroyed, and we also heard, unconfirmed though, that some people lost their lives in the course of that action. I have joining me now the Executive Director of Jose Mari Escrivas Foundation, is also a lecturer, civil society activist, public affairs commentator and analyst, Jude Obasomi, PhD. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Jude.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonidu. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Ekpoma seems to be in the news in the last few days and weeks. As a matter of fact, Edo Central in general, over these incessant activities by terrorists. What would you say has led to where we are today? A place that has governance by virtue of its being a local government headquarters, and they also have a functional traditional institution, and then you have the overhang of the government of the state. So what is really happening in Ekpoma? I mean, that protest, some of them were visible on social media, where people were, you know, killing cows, killing goats and ram, in some cases literally cutting away these things. And I mean, this is not how a protest should be, really.
Okay, I thank you very much, and once again, good morning. In answering your question, I want to see how best I can departmentalize my answers, because we raise so many vital issues. First of all, how did we get to this position that the people had to rise to come and start protesting? So what happened in terms of the destruction, more or less, things that took place, later in the day in Ekpoma. I was in Ekpoma that particular day when it happened. It's on record that for the past, let me just say, 2 months, the people of Ekpoma and environs have not been finding things easy. Before now, we were saying that kidnappers were coming to attack the people, right? You know, maybe when you are going to your farms, or maybe when you are traveling on the express. But this time around, these guys have barely closed into this town. So then they place like Ujeme, in a place like Emado, where you have people that are resident there now, the kidnappers have now closed in. People now say something is wrong somewhere. And because of that, someone are now fed that now we need to engage. So we need to engage in forms of civil disobedience. But along the line, some of us now fed that, sorry, this issue of protest and what have you, we are actually past that level. It's had to come up with a strategy that can make government to do the needful. Okay. So there was a protest up and down. Even there was one, the commissioner for the police came to the campus. That was on then last Sunday or so, to talk to some comrades that please, this is not the time for you guys to go out to go and protest. But however, the people have the fundamental right to protest when they are not happy. Okay. For this, in this year alone, there have been about 6 cases of kidnapping. This year alone, we had 2 deaths. One of a lady, they kidnapped the lady and the man at Ujeme. And the last boy that died, that was on Friday night. That one led to the protest of on Saturday. So people just felt that, sorry, with the way things are going now, we have to come out to cry out. But along the line, because of this engagement, which was not properly organized, let me use that term, you see, it went out of hand. It's on record in 2018 when we led this protest about BDC. Even in Benin, Aochi, not a single fly was destroyed because there was proper coordination and we got our results. But in particular case, they're more or less spontaneous. Some guys gathered at the market square, others were at the school gate, others were in Opoji doing, permit me to say, nonsense, protesting, blocking the roads, lighting fire, burning tires on the road that we don't even have in that central district. Because of that, along the line, some person now decided to go further by attacking people that have little or nothing to do with the crisis. For example, if I'm a private man, I do my own private business, and you now go ahead because government failed at the particular level to provide the needful, you come and destroy my own property. Or women that go to market that were to go to market that particular, they could not go to market. We prevent our mothers, our sisters from having their daily bread, just because you are claiming that you are protesting. Things should not be done like that. We're in an era whereby the social media have been able to help us a little to get to government at a very, at a faster rate compared to before, that you need to write a memo, somebody has to look at it before it gets to government. So why must the people, these miscreants, people who claim to be aggrieved, we now begin to go to where you have these our brothers from the north, rearing their cattle and what have you, now going to attack them, stealing their goods and what have you. It doesn't make some sense. If you are hungry, fine, let us know. Because now the level of frustration in that community is very high. We came out with your team, Chris, to come and at least find out what was going on in town. And the little boy of less than 16 years said, Oga, I beg, shift your white hair with the protest. So now the boy, why are you guys protesting now? They know, the government know they try with the protest, won't go bomb market. Sorry, why must you go and do that? So the cycle of the average youth in that community is so bad. Just because most of them take tramadol, take whatever form of drugs they take, so they don't even know what is going on. Okay. They went to the market, attacked those guys just because, as someone said, that they did not join the protest. And I asked them, they do engage them. When we're doing protests now, you know very well now, all the stakeholders will be called to a meeting. This is what we want to do. This is what we need to play. These guys now that want to go and begin to attack their goods and their cat and water, they do let them know that tomorrow you are protected and want you to go. If you know you are not a kidnapper, come and join us. That was not done. But what they just achieved was that they all went there, destroyed their car. Let us note this. Most of the cattle or the goats or all the animals that these guys are rearing in their various camps, they belong to us. Some of us that have good funds, you can say, sorry, I want to go into animal husbandry. Let me see I can get some cattle, some goats and what have you. You now invite these guys who have that natural skill to be able to manage these animals. You give it to them to go and help you to take care of. Most of the cattle we have in that area are owned by people in that particular community. And we now went there to go and destroy them. And that was what led to the attack on these protesters. Along the line now, so records based on our compilation now, about 8 persons were attacked. 5 of them got to the hospital. 2 were taken to unknown destination by their friends. You know, see them and driving their Porsche cars, driving recklessly. One, we cannot ascertain where that guy is now, but to the best of my knowledge, as of today, we have not got any case whereby maybe somebody died, but 5 of them were taken to the hospital. I want to commend the doctors too, who went ahead to engage them, to appeal to the police. I beg, let us see how best you can treat them. They treat these guys free of charge, give them drugs. But the sad part was when they now went to go and attack the palace. For me, the palace is going to be a sacred institution. Come to your question of the traditional institution. Yeah. A place whereby if there's a crisis in town, you run to the palace. As a student in Ekpoma, those were in 92. If you have any issues now, you know, you run to the palace. The king will say, and when they come, the king will say, sorry, they are my children. I will deal with them. When this came now, people went to the palace. They went the highness or the major of Ekpoma, addressed them that, sorry, no problem, the government will do the needful. We engage government. You came back, and what you could do was that you went there to destroy the palace, even demonize the princess. It's very sad. It's uncalled for. Just because that most young persons now don't have respect, don't have value for life, they just feel that what we need to do is to go and keep on destroying. What have we been able to achieve now? The CP came to Ekpoma. That was on Saturday night when it just happened. But must government be reactive? They gave them, I want to commend the state governor. He gave them in various LGs about 15 or 20 bikes. Even the university gave them some bikes to use for surveillance. But the question is, you've given them these bikes now. I don't put in place a mechanism so that these bikes will be used for the task they have to come and do. Not at all. We see those bikes in town doing what they're expected to do. In Ekpoma, you see a lot of people, different people in uniform claim to be security officers collecting money. It's on record. Hope I'm not going too fast, sir. Go ahead. It's on record that the state police command deployed a lot of police officers to Ekpoma. A lot. But the question is, it's not a matter of deployment. What are these guys doing?
Okay, as the police issued a statement as to what happened and what they are doing about it in this regard, because I saw a video online, I think a few days ago, yesterday, where it is alleged that police are going around arresting the masterminds of these protests.
I won't say that they are arresting the masterminds of this protest, but rather those guys who were involved in those reckless destruction, particularly destroying the palace building, assaulting the princess, and many more. So those arrests, I can confirm that as today that those arrests are going on. Okay. But we have told that some comrades who decide to say they want to go and protest, that fine. If anybody is arrested unjustly, let us try to find out how they can be released, so to say. But if the police decide that Mr. A or Mr. B was involved in the destruction, or if it's just a minor, a minute pin, that person should be arrested and dealt with. We cannot continue to allow Ekpoma to be a place whereby there's no law, there's no order, but just do whatever he or she feels that he or she is doing.
Okay. Let's talk about finding solution to this insecurity crisis, particularly in Ekpoma and Edo Central. Against the background, because you said in time past, the story was that these guys will attack people going to the farms or coming from the farms. But they have left there now. Yeah. They're probably within the metropolitan areas where they are carrying out these operations and stuff like that. What do you think is the model to adopt in dealing with this issue?
All right, thank you very much. Since some years ago, I wrote a paper after the kidnap of I've forgotten him now. I'll get his name. When he was kidnapped, Ozekome.
Chief Mike
Ozekome's son. When he gave us his narrative, what he passed through, at the kidnappers' platform. He said, sorry, there was a time he had issues, he was feeling feverish. Somebody came to check his BP, somebody came to administer drugs on him. He was hungry, and they brought out, this takeaway pack of food, well-prepared food, they gave to him to eat, excluding the level of torture that he got. So I now realized that after I made my study, and I discovered that it was more or less a syndicate. And I wrote a paper and said, kidnapping an emerging enterprise. And that is an enterprise that was just evolving as at that time, about 7 years ago. Okay. Now, within this so-called architecture of their kidnapping, there are different stakeholders. You have the informants. They only just to come and confirm when Mr. A comes to his house, or they confirm his schedule of operation. You have others that that is just to ensure that they're able to successfully kidnap the person. You have others that will be there, they only to go and negotiate. You have others that will be the one to go and collect the money. Why am I saying this? A friend of mine, Professor Matthew Zibli, named very well, when he was kidnapped, when he gave us his ordeal, we said, sorry, it's terrible. And again, now where things are going so bad like this, that the locals are starting to be corrected and not getting involved. But there's no way somebody can come to ITV, God forbid, they normally say, and say, okay, this is where the studio is. They have 2 or 3 studios. Nobody, not that, they say, only when an informant tells somebody outside that this is how the studio is structured. That's why when they come in to operate, they just go ahead and achieve whatever they want to achieve. Yes, now Venezuela and America, whereby they can track. We don't have that technology within our own locality here now, whereby the kidnappers can say that Jude is sleeping or Jude is standing. So I believe that the locals are getting involved, and government now, their strategy is not yielding desired result, in which case they need to re-strategize. There's this particular campaign that we wanted to launch before the Christmas, Operation Know Your Neighbor. In other words, now, you must know your neighbor. You are the owner of a particular, of an apartment in your community. You want to give other house to a stranger. Find out who that person is. What is the source of income? It's on record when I did my, some other investigation that in Ekpoma, or in some areas now, we have one room that can only accommodate about maybe 2 persons maximum, one room. Then that will be given out to foreigners, not from that area, about 10 of them, and they will have to pay 10,000 naira each a year. So a room of about 30K, people are now contributing 100,000 naira to give to that, to that landlord. And then the day when you have the say, sorry, in my house, I need to. So I believe that government should change their strategy. It's not a matter of going for bush combing. Like when we spoke with the PPRO of the police, he said he went for bush combing. I told her, Madam, somebody that does not have hair on his head, you now give the person comb. It doesn't make some good sense. You go to bush combing. What do you achieve? Before you get there now, get to the bush, to the camps, these guys have left. So what are you now combing? So I strongly believe that with the improvement in technology, government should scale up the process. Government should scale up because people now, before they went to that protest now, they are tired. They are frustrated. They just feel that, sorry, we provide our roads, we provide our security, we provide everything for. What is government doing? Don't forget the Constitution section 14 talks about the major function of government is to protect. provide security for the people. In our own case now, are we getting it? The answer is no. Every day we hear of security going out. The question is, how do these funds go out to this particular person? And again, the officers that are deployed, are they well taken care of? You ask them now, you go for this attack, go for bush combing. Maybe in the team of about 50, maybe only 5 or 10 of them might be putting on bullet vests. Maybe the DPO or other senior officers, the rest of them nothing. Are they actually taken care of? What about their allowances? You put them to various communities now, they end up not doing the needful. And again, the reporting channel. So on record that the former governor of the state had a kind of civil infrastructure architecture whereby there was what they call a reporting center for crime. I don't know where it's on board. Now, if that is not on board, I want to appeal. The governor can institute that. Maybe at the local government level, you have the local government council chairman, you have other councillors, as for example in that area. You can have those kind of micro, security platforms so that people can always call in and immediately get response. And again, do you have the response mechanism to be able to respond to calls? Not at all. Okay. A case will happen, I just call the police, please come and help us. They will tell them, where are you now? Please, what you need to do, just maintain yourself so that after this, then you can come to the police station and come and write your statement. You call them now that it is the crime in an area. From, let me say, over 10 electric poles, you see them, blaring their siren that they are coming to arrest. Which criminal will remain? So I believe that it is our time. They go back and begin to see how we can adequately use technology to achieve better results for our people.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jude Obasomi, for the insights that you brought to bear on our conversation on the spate of kidnappings in Ekpoma and the general insecurity situation in Edo Central. We hope to keep tabs with you to get more subsequently. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much. And finally, I would just want to appeal to the police. They should apprehend all those guys who went to the palace to go and cause those mayhem and to dehumanize the princess. It is grossly unacceptable.
Unacceptable by every stroke of imagination. It's the TMI on the ITV network. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be talking with Patience in the Diki, a former PRP governorship candidate in the last general election in Edo State, as we look at the issue of party politics, defections, and projections for 2027. Stay with me on the show.
This is an Egbete community situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership,
Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network. Well, the build-up to 2027 election is bringing forth a lot of interesting conversation, with politicians, as always, being more concerned about the election itself rather than focusing on the plights of the people. And to help us make sense of all of these conversations, I'd like to welcome very specially Patience Ndidiki, a head development expert, former PRP governorship candidate in the last governorship election in Edo State. She's joining us from the U.S. Patience, good to have you join us on the show. I'm sure I'll still be right to wish you Happy New Year, and thank you so much for finding time to be part of the show this morning.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Dr. Duke. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. I'm sure you've been following proceedings and activities in the build-up to 2027 election. The most topical has been the emergence of ADC as a coalition party for the election. We've seen a lot of people move from the APC, the PDP, and then, of course, they've converged in the ADC as a major coalition. And that's also on the flip side, we've seen a lot of defections, particularly from state governors moving from their parties and then joining the APC. What do you make of all of these in the build up to the 2027 election?
Yeah, this, it should be about people's lives. Political positioning, getting into office should be about people's lives, about their safety, about food security, about jobs, about dignity, not about party gymnastics. What we're seeing ahead of 2027 is a familiar pattern. This is not the first time this is happening. Power moves, defection into the ruling party and the counter coalition around the ADC. APC came through that, and so many other parties. So, like I said, this should be about people's life, how to advance people's life, but that's not what we are seeing. For me, I think for them, the governors moving from different parties into APC and the coalition, it's about weakness. This political, they're just weak. They are very weak people. They are detached from their people. They are detached from the society. They're not interested in the rule of law. They're not interested in doing anything good for the community, and that's where we are. It's it shouldn't be controversial to say that Nigerian political class is heavily recycled. From the faces that you see in ADC are the same faces. Those who have ruined Nigeria, those who have in their different communities, in their different positions that they've held before. When you look at their reports, looking at the result and the resultant factor from their leadership, there's nothing to write home about. So they recycle themselves against the benefits of Nigeria, the benefit of the people. And again, it's a sign of weakness. My hope and prayer is that Nigerians think for themselves, make their own choice, and not be coerced, because now, ADC is what's reigning. Labour Party has come and gone. And you see this, if you have people running from one place to the other, again, I repeat, it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of, clear detachment from their people. It's a sign of the usual corruption that we've experienced in our system. So I would believe that the Nigerian people, we will walk and think for themselves with their eyes open to be able to speak for themselves, talk for themselves. Because when it comes to voting and we allow our votes to be bought, we are actually giving rooms to these miscreants, to rig election. That's what it is.
Let me bring you up to speed with other issues that I want us to give attention to in the course of this conversation. What in your opinion are the major defining moments, defining issues in the build-up to the 2027 election? I mean, issues that will shape the election, as it were.
For Nigeria, everything is needed. We're talking about insecurity every day. Now we're not allowing international bodies, foreigners to come into our system in the name of helping us. So there's still the issue of unemployment. There's still the issue of kidnapping, safety, insecurity. There's still the issue of food insecurity. So everything is the infrastructure. Everywhere is in shambles. I just came back from Nigeria. I left Nigeria on Christmas Day. I've been back and forth. So there's still a lot of problems. And that is what anyone who is going into to vie for any position, whether president or governor or whatever it is, should be focused on. How they can transform, how they can elevate the people, elevate the economy, how infrastructures can be built. Nothing is working in Nigeria, and we all see it every day. There's a lot of downside. There's a lot of backwardness in our country. There's a lot of retrogression in our country. So it's still the same cases that we'll keep talking about until things are done right. The case of insecurity, food. Nigeria is an arable land. Agriculture was our mainstay. And now people have no food to eat. People can't even go to the farm because of insecurity. And even for those who are able to do the little they can, there's no resources, no money to be able to do businesses. So it's still the same issue. Infrastructure. Instead of the government to do the roads, they patch, and the next year, allocation or budget is still given to the same thing that they have done the previous year. So it's saddening. Everything in Nigeria needs help. Everything, every sector, every area needs a touch, needs liberation, needs people who believe in themselves, who believe in Nigeria, who love Nigeria, to come on board and work collaboratively.
How do you think the people, because in your analysis you also have given a hit to the people in terms of their disposition to electoral process, but how do you think the people can really help to put this country on the right course in terms of getting the right people in position of leadership to drive governance, to drive development, to drive democracy and the rule of law?
Well, the best way to do this is for Nigerians not to be afraid of the power grabbers. What I see in the system is there's a lot of scare, there's a lot of fear. When they see the so-called prominent people who are not really successful, because success is when you are a blessing to your community, you're a blessing to your nation. None of them are successful. So there's a lot of scare in the system. So we need the right people to come on board to vie for these different positions. And such people might not have the kind of money that the so-called prominent ones have because of how they have stolen Nigerians' money. And when they come out, I want to encourage Nigerians. You need to support people who have not done evil in your society. People want to jackpot to America or want to jackpot to UK and all that. The way they do elections there, the way they do elections here is quite different. We support who we believe can, move our lives forward, move our businesses forward, move our schools forward, bring infrastructures, develop our community. Nigerians, even if, for example, 2 million people, we have over 200 million in population. If 2 million people put together 1,000, as low as it is, that's a lot of money to support who you believe in. When you say this, people begin to look at you as in, what are you talking about? You're supposed to be giving me when you're running for offices. That is why we end up with the bad leadership. That is why we end up with criminals in positions. That is why we end up with people that will, support kidnappers instead of support their citizens. So we need good people to come on board. People who are pragmatic, people who are visionary, people who are competent, people who have compassion. Because in leadership like this, you need people who are patient and have compassion for the people, who understand empathy, who understand the rule of law, who understand leadership, who are visionary, to come on board and be supported. And Nigerians, both home and abroad. I'm not saying Nigerians in Nigeria, are just to be blamed. Even those of us in the diaspora. Because I've been in situations where, even the diaspora want to support the same people. And in the end, they complain. You cannot have diaspora voting or all the things you want to happen to, in the diaspora and also happen back home if you keep recycling the same elite, the same people that you made elite. So what I think we should do, the people who believe they can do the job, who are competent, who are visionary, who have compassion, should come on board. The presidency is open for Nigerians to run, not a selected few. Governorship, senatorial positions, and all that. And Nigerians should be ready to support not your tribal person or your religious person or your party person. No, we should be ready to support competence. We should be ready to support visionary. We should be ready to support someone who is compassionate. Ask questions and you will get the answers. That's what I think should be done in this next election. And I believe things can change. I even believe things are even changing, because with the communication from the United States, whether there's a collaboration with the Nigerian government or not, we see there's a lot of scare. We see that things can change. So let's believe in us. Let's hope in us. This should be about the people, not about our political gymnastics and all the actors we see.
Okay. All right. Talk to me about the prospects of women in Nigerian politics against the background of your own personal experiences. It doesn't look like it's getting better anytime soon with some of the numbers, the statistics, and the data that is available.
Yeah, the thing is that women are powerful, but it's just sad that so many of us don't know how much power, how much value, how much integrity we can bring on this job. So all we'll keep doing is keep mentoring. For those of us who have been in place of leadership and have seen success and know that leadership is not a power tussle, leadership is service, leadership is to do work, leadership is to come to a place and make it better than you met it. Yeah, so women are powerful. Women can do the job. But, we need those of us who have been in leadership to keep mentoring, other women. But women should be on board. When God made man and woman, there was no disparity in his own case. There's no, this is lower and this is higher and all that. So now it depends on us. We have to, we just have to come up. We just have to believe in ourselves. We have to be, that motivation has to be there. Not every woman will be in leadership. Not every woman will want to vie for president or vie for governor or contest for a political position. But in whatever field that we are, we can do great. Women are doing great all over the world. We see, look at Namibian presidents, in Tanzania, a lot of places. So those of us, we need to genuinely, sincerely, there's a lot of organization, whether men are cheering it or women are cheering it. I mean, women organizations. But when you ask questions, you see that for those organizations, there's no support, even for the women. When I mean support is not giving you food. Support is teaching you about life. I've asked some men or women who are chairing some women organization, what is the value added? What is the goal of this organization? We're talking about leadership. We're talking leadership in different spheres. But I see for the most part, is either we want to use that organization to take money from the women, or we think their need is rapper. Their need is give them jollof rice. Their need is giving them food. No. They want to learn about life. They want to learn about leadership. They want to, and when their spirit catches it, definitely, women can do great. Women will do great, And, so I believe, continuous mentorship, continuous encouragement, continuous support. For many a times, people will say, "Oh, there's no financial support." That is true. I've run for positions, both in political scene and organization scene. Yes, the financial support is there, but we have to keep pushing. We have to move, And I believe things can change, and I believe in 2027. It's nothing is late. I believe in 2027, a woman can be the president of Nigeria. We can have several women as governors.
That's one.
We can have several women as senators.
Yeah.
We can have several women as reps and House of Assembly. It is possible.
All right. Patience Ndidike is joining us virtually from the U.S., former PRP governorship candidate, sharing perspectives with us on some of the issues dominating discussions in the build-up to the 2027 general elections. We'll take a break. We'll be back on the concluding side of this conversation. Please stay. Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network. In just a moment, we'll be linking you up with our Abuja network studio with Ikaro Atta for the continuation of our conversation on the network. But let's quickly conclude with our guest joining us from the US virtually, talking about Ndidi Patience Key. Thank you once again, Patience, for your time with us on the program this lovely Monday morning on the TMI network. Give me your take on some of the outputs and the manifestations in Edo State. I mean, you were part of the contestation during the last governorship election. What's your reaction, your comments, your perception and perspectives on how the state has been so far since the new administration came on board?
Yeah, you can see, we all can see for ourselves what's happening. You know, part of the outcome, which is on the negative side, is what's happening in Ekpoma. You know, it's been insecurity in Edo Central and other parts of the state. Even in Benin City, you know, our youths and our young ones, you know, are more now on drugs, selling drugs to themselves, giving drugs to the community. For those of us who are into women empowerment, we have more prostitutes on the streets. You know, so a lot of ill situations, you know. The main job of the government, the primary duty of a government, is that of protection of lives and property. And there's not been success in that. There's not been success in that. And it's really, really sad. For me, nothing is happening in Edo State, just like it is in other states. It's really, really sad. It is really, really sad. So one of the things we're seeing, it's what's happening in Ekoma. You know, people begin to protect themselves, go into the streets to protest when there is no protection for them. You know, there's no two ways about it. There's no, you know, people fight for themselves when those that are supposed to be protecting them are not doing it. So in the long run, it could lead to chaos. It could lead to things, you know, that are just like it is right now. Why? Because there's no protection of life. The government is not thinking of the property of the people, the lives of the people, the safety of the people, the dignity of the people, you know. So I don't see anything happening apart from the normal lies, which is so, you know, the state is so rich. The government can decide, it's a decision to do good or do bad. The government can decide to do good, because even if, no matter the amount of money you want to acquire and siphon and keep for yourself, when you use the resources that is embedded in the state to transform the state, think of production, think of manufacturing, think of how you can look in your diaspora, work with your youth, work with your women, definitely there will be more money. The economy will grow. You will be richer yourself, your state will be richer, your citizens will be richer, things will work better. But lack of vision, again, we have weak government, and that is what I see in Edo State. Lack of vision, weak individuals, weak in the spirit, weak in the mind, weak in attitude.
Just a moment. There are those who will contest this with you vigorously against the background of some of the infrastructural developments that are taking place in the state, educational infrastructure, health infrastructure that are taking place in the state. Some of them are things never before seen in the state. To talk about the flyover bridges under construction massively at Aduwawa axis, another at the GRA at this Grammar School Junction axis. These are clear examples of a government that means well and is visionary in terms of its thinking. And you're saying you can't see all of those, apart from the fact that the governance has been blighted a little bit by the insecurity situation that we're seeing in the state, which is a general problem across the country.
But that is big. That is very, very big. But the first thing you want to do is take care of your people. This infrastructural development, this is not the first time we've been hearing about this, not just in this government. I don't know whether, the problem I see in our community is that when the government have a meeting, talk about, give us the big talks, go to schools, just put a plaster somewhere, put just a plaster, just do something or just say something, everybody's clapping. In the long run, that is exactly why that leader came on board. So it shouldn't be something that I'll be clapping for the person. Well, in a situation with Nigeria, because you hardly see government that wants to work. So when we see the little, we begin to kind of be happy. So when you said educational infrastructure, like where is it? Because during Obaseki, we had educational infrastructure. In the end, we saw empty rooms, we saw all manner of stuff. So let's people stop deceiving us and us, the people accepting this deceit. When it is done, we will see it. But not just the talks.
As we gradually conclude this conversation, what are your key recommendations? I mean, your name is Key too, so we're getting some keys from Key in dealing with some of these problems, particularly the insecurity challenges that we have, not just in Edo State, but across the country.
You see, for me, I don't have anything against anyone in government as an individual, as a person. The concern for all of us is that we're not seeing infrastructural developments. We're not seeing lives being transformed. We're not seeing businesses, moving the way they should move and things like that. In regards to insecurity, people have mentioned a lot of things, and it's still the same thing I'm going to repeat. Our security agents need to be equipped. They have to be surveillance. We have to work with our communities. For example, in the Ekuma community, we need the traditional leaders. We need the community members. We need the security agents. And we need transparent accountability. We need reports all the time. And we need those that are causing this mayhem to be prosecuted. But in our society, we are friends with the kidnappers instead of being friends with our citizens. Because in a lot of stories, there's an iota of truth in a lot of gossips. Even past leaders have said it, that when you begin to experience, insecurity or any danger in society, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, is because the people who are in leadership are a part of it. So what else should we not believe?
All right, thank you very much. Patience indeed the key. Thank you for the useful insights that you brought to bear on our conversation today. It's a delight to have you join us from the U.S. and looking at some of this issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's the TMI on the ITV network. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll hand you over to our Abuja network studio, where Iharo is on standby with our next set of guests and, of course, our next discussion on the network. Please stay tuned.
This is Anegbete community, situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sonny Duke Okosum, for that wonderful one. Indeed, when it comes to political party and the defection by politicians, you can't beat them to that. They understand when it will start raining, and quickly they run to the umbrella. And when the umbrella is no longer needed and they need to sweep, they quickly hurry for the broom. And when they are hungry, they seek the cock, maybe the cock of Abga, to actually get a nice stew. Politicians are like that. Very, very locomotive. You can't vouch for them. Anyone you see today that is standing, that is shouting, on your mandate we shall stand, well, somehow you will be shocked. Tomorrow morning, he may be dancing with Peter Obi or somebody else. You see all the persons who shouted obedient, that they have almost all defected. With just one or two with him in ADC. And that is how they play their game. Many persons, even the ones around Edo State before, who swore with their ancestral graves never to go near APC. Today, they wear the cap of the president with utmost pride and forgetting that the internet don't ever forget. My name is Iharo Atta, and now I want to look at insecurity. It appears to have spiked again. after the New Year celebration. Throughout the Christmas and New Year period, it was a nice one. According to the CAN leadership that visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his Lagos home, they said they have never had a Christmas this good. Well, throughout the Christmas period, no church was attacked. But after the Christmas period, it appears as if the kidnappings, it appears as if the assault and others have all returned back in very worrisome proportion in the new year. And the big question is, what are the security agents doing? Somehow, Defense Minister Christopher Musa spoke and said, look, he's giving a stern warning. All those who are supporting terror, they will soon be testing the route of the Nigerian armed forces. In his words, the friend of a thief is a thief. But now, we saw what happened in Ekpoma. We saw what happened yesterday in Ekpoma in the evening, where this camera caught very clearly the guys approaching from uncompleted building through an empty, undeveloped parcel of land and attacking the man who just entered his compound in SUV, taking him out and rushing him. He was kidnapped. That appears not to be a bush path, but an area undergoing heavy development in Ekpoma, and the person was kidnapped and whisked away. Some are arguing that they may not just be herdsmen, but no matter who they are, herdsmen, their collaborators, or indigenous kidnappers, someone used that word, indigenous kidnappers, should we wait and watch? Many remind those in government that Article 14, subsection 2b states very clearly that the principal primary purpose of government is for the security and the welfare of citizens. Now let's go to our guest. Mr. Peter Adomi, a security expert. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Very much Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, Nigeria.
Now let's quickly start here. Let me ask you. When Trump tweeted, it's that the tweet appeared to have expired.
Yeah, the tweet expired the very first day it was released. Because that same day there were attacks. And if, despite the Christmas tomahawk visit on some of the bandit camps, it continued. It continued. It has never stopped. Except that there was less publicity, or less reporting, if you say that. So for me, it is not about tweeting. This hydra-headed monster is yet to be tackled. And I will advise our Minister for Defense. Is an accomplished soldier. He should move beyond West and tell us exactly what he needs to do to tackle this problem.
What he needs in what sense?
What he needs in terms of material, in terms of manpower.
But they have given them the billions.
Well,
you've got the billions.
Well, you know, money is one thing.
Good.
And the situation is not abating.
Good.
That's why I use the word what he needs.
Okay.
If you give a child food, after feeding the child still crying, you probably might have to go beyond food now and say, my guy, what do you need? What do you want? Okay. So this situation, we are yet to be told what it needs to be applied to it. So
okay, now let me come in here. Let's what we saw at the weekend was really very despicable. In Edo State, where the Ekpoma student and community went on rampage. Many persons condemned in strong terms the attack on the cattle market, where they looted goats, looted rams, and all of that, destroyed the entire market and all of that. It's heavily condemned. You don't take it to that extent. But coming down now, you are talking about the defense minister. Let's now go to the subnational, the local government and the state governments. What role should they play? Because it appears as if most times where the buying of vehicles appear not to be working anymore. It is, you know, when you buy vehicles, you call the media, you showcase it in the media. You have bought 37 trucks, you have bought this, then you buy motorcycle. You arrange them in a very wide open field, and you cut tape, and everybody clap for you. your political hype men, your political singers across the entire state will clap for you very much that you've been able to do that. And the next day there's kidnapping. In all of these facets, the subnational, if you are to sit and look at the governors sitting before you, what will you be telling them?
My dear brother, Nigeria is a unitary state.
Okay.
Let's not run away from it.
Okay.
You see that document that is saying that we are a republic, that whatever description you want to give to it, take it or leave it, the situation on ground is that Nigeria is a unitary state.
It flows from the center.
It's like a military arrangement. The president of Nigeria is the most powerful president in the whole world that has all the powers.
More than Trump?
Trump still responds to the Congress.
Challenge him.
The Congress still challenge him. The Congress can
even the court will put
of course,
a judgment on his policies.
Court are stopping some of his executive orders. Court are challenging Trump. Even individuals are challenging Trump. Is there any individual in Nigeria today that will challenge the president and will not end up somewhere else? Is there any court that has challenged presidential decision in this country since 1999? Is there any state governor that has dead the president and did not suffer terribly? So what are we talking about? Governors are running to the president for answer to look at questions. My dear, as long as we have a situation where the governors are the security officer of their state on paper, not in practice, then they don't have any power to do anything. Don't forget that the police don't respond to him, the army don't respond to him. Nobody responds to the governor. Even the vigilantes that the governor was trying to fund, they don't scatter them now. So what powers or what would the governor do? What can he do? So I pity the governors. I pity them. They can't do anything. You see, the situation on ground requires that. Let's even come back to the issue. You are in a position to know, is there any law in Nigeria that punishes a kidnapper?
So there are. I think there are many state laws, some death penalty.
So some death penalty, like Edo State. Good. Apart from Oshomole, any other governor, ever looked at that law?
Well, the current governor have been demolishing one or two properties used by courtists and members. No, he said they are used by courtists and kidnappers. And in the southeast, we see properties being demolished over alleged involvement in kidnapping.
Good. And did that stop it?
No.
My dear, it is not about you are demolishing properties that have been built with money. Rather than demolish property, demolish the criminals. Are they suggesting that they don't know where they are? If you can identify a criminal's house, you know who the criminal is. Go after the criminal, for God's sake. Get the person to justice. Sentence them to death. Let them be fired. What stopped armed robbery in this country?
During the military era.
During the military era.
I attended very many.
Good.
I attended many.
Came up with a tribunal
Fire
to
squad.
try armed robbers.
Yeah, fire squad.
And once they are condemned to death, they are given public show.
But is that not true? I know then we were young on a Saturday at Shadawanka Barracks in Bauchi towards Awala Hotel, Meduguri Road. We always go there, and whenever they pass judgment, we will go there, they will announce it in the whole barracks around. People will gather like stadium and they will tie them. Yes. And we will all sit on the floor and we'll watch it.
And then the government of Buhari and Idi Agmoke, they moved a step further than that and say, we will not just take you to Bar Beach and fire you, we will go and fire you in front of your father's house. So that your family, your village, everybody will know that they gave birth to a criminal. Did that not stop? Families can now call their children and say, we don't want our house to be used as a public field to come and fire you. Please don't go into this. At least that now went down. Up till now, the only thing we have been able to do to criminals in this country is to celebrate them.
The ones in politics.
Even the ones that are not in politics. Is this not in this country that you will see a Yahoo boy hiring 16 policemen to guard his house in the village, another 16 to be guarding his house in Lagos?
But for them, that stopped them from kidnapping him.
But he is going out to kidnap some other people. I am telling you for free, this kidnapping, Yahoo are involved. Forget that they are destroying market. Yahoo are involved.
But they blame it more on the headsmen.
Which headsmen? How many headsmen are there again now? How many headsmen are there? Where are the headsmen again? Those states that I come from, the number of headsmen has reduced because of community effort tackling the headsmen. The headsmen are running away. Some are moving back towards the north. Some are moving further south. The headsmen have been drastically reduced. Okay, let me give you an example. Something happened towards the end of last year in my area. Somebody was being kidnapped. The kidnappers came, they knocked at the door.
In Edo State?
Yes. They knocked at the door, and the wife was answering and saying, "Who is that?" They say, "Open the door, we are kidnapped." They say, "My God, no deal." The woman was hearing somebody speaking my language and telling them, "No lie, they inside." They
are not herdsmen.
Huh?
They are not herdsmen.
Does herdsmen speak my language? He was telling them in my language and say, "No lie, break the door, they inside." Unknown to them, the fellow is a member of the vigilante. He has a pump action with him. So the man opened his door and opened fire. Lo and behold, he killed his own fellow kinsman, somebody from his own village, a fellow youth in the village.
Brought the kidnappers.
Brought the kidnapper. And he was the first to receive the bullet. The kidnapper, other kidnappers ran away. So you can now see, and what does this boy do for a living? They say he's a Yahoo boy. He demolished his father's house and rebuilt it. Demolished all his uncle's house and rebuilt them. He's building houses here and there, both in the village and in Auchi and in Benin and living large. A boy that didn't finish primary school that is living in the village, he's living.
Okay, now let's come a little bit. Your submission appears to be tying everything around the federal, but for now, if you watch what happened in Ekpoma, everyone is putting the pressure on Governor Okpewolo to do something, and the governor appears to be under pressure to do something. I know all the cattle stolen, he would like to the cows, the cattle, the ram that were looted in Ekpoma, he will have to replace them, calm the Hausa community. But what do you think can be done? Because you can't leave it like this. No one is calling Tinubu. You watch all the protests, nobody calls Tinubu again. Everyone is on the neck of Monday Okpewolo.
Good. You see, don't let this issue look like it's only in Edo State.
No, I'm only trying. I'll come to other states, but the one of Edo was the one we saw at the weekend. Very dastardly, it went viral online.
Let me tell you a simple solution.
If you are to help the government of your state,
good. Let me tell you a simple solution to the problem. Now, I borrowed that solution from Jigawa State.
Okay.
When during the Boko Haram era, in the early days of Boko Haram, 2014, 2015.
But Jigawa had always been largely peaceful.
No. That's why I said I borrowed that solution from Jigawa State.
Okay, sir.
The then governor, Sule Lamido, on one occasion I went to do some, work there, and we had an audience with him. So I took the opportunity to ask him what he has been able to do to make Jigawa safe. You will remember that throughout the Boko Haram saga, Jigawa State was never attacked.
Largely.
Not even a village. I said, sir, how did you go about it? He said he called all the traditional rulers, all the village heads, all the Akimis to a meeting, all the emirs. He called them to a meeting and told them, I want to develop this state. Therefore, I don't want Boko Haram here. If in your emirate, in your district, in your village, there is an attack, I will remove the emir, I will remove the district head, I will remove the village head. And not only that I will remove them, I will remove you. You will be tried and sent to jail. So whatever you are going to do to make sure that your village is not attacked, whatever you are going to do to make sure that your emirate is safe, go and do it.
Okay, you hold your thought there. You hold your thought there. I think it's time for us to take a break, to take a short break, a very short break. When we return from the break, very short break, we will be continuing with Mr. Peter Andomi, security expert, as we look at security challenges across the country. We've touched a little bit on Edo State, but after this break, we will continue. Okay, thank you so very much for staying with us. The program is This Morning on ITV, broadcasting from our Abuja Network Center. We are looking at the state of insecurity, the rising state of insecurity, which has seen so much killings after the new year, and a massive protest in Ekmoma, a community in Edo State, and some other ones that have left many persons talking. And our guest is Mr. Peter Andomi. Now, you're sharing us about Jigawa after he spoke to the royal fathers and monarchs. Go ahead with it.
Yeah, because there is nothing that happens in a village that the village head can deny that he doesn't know about it. I am telling you the truth. In Edo State that we come from, we've had village heads who know about this problem, who collaborate. I'll give you one typical example. If, as a village head, some people come to my community in the name of herdsmen, and I seize the community land and give to them to settle there, what am I doing? So, as far as I'm concerned, my advice to the governor is call all the village heads, all the community leaders, and give them a marching order. If I hear of an attack in your village again, you are the first to go. And see if that will have an effect or not.
What about the Edo Security Network, the one so celebrated everywhere, uniform, vehicles, and if I may quote the governor and those around him, insecurity is now a thing of the past. It appears that statement did not stay for too long.
That arrangement has been factionalized, it has been politicized, and it has now been weakened because they are no longer operating. You see, let me tell you something. For instance, when you put a group of young men together to do a job like that, and you never train them, you never taught them the basics of security and how to maneuver, then to make it worse, you appoint, you can imagine when you, in a village, the security coordinator is appointed from Benin, where they don't know who is who in the village. I want you to also know that this arrangement is now penetrated by Yahoo boys and the miscreants in the village.
I think, is that not, we can say job seekers?
They are not just job seekers. You see, you and I are Nigerians. We know that when, in those days, when a child is growing up, the parents will be concerned if that child is not showing sign that he wants to be a man of his own. But you see these days, we've seen where a mother will go and sell her wrapper to buy a laptop for his secondary school.
Go and learn Yahoo.
Go and learn Yahoo, do what your mates are
doing. It also happens in Abuja.
Yes, even here where we live. So when you say go and do what your mates are doing, and then the child...
Now, I'll stop here. Let's give Governor Bobolo some brief and let him rest a little. President Tinubu is currently, late last night, he arrived UAE for the Sustainable Week Summit, which will be commencing today. The president will be very busy on that, working, and the villa told us that he will be targeting on how to get partnership on renewable energy collaboration to actually boost the economy and drive it going forward now. But as he is doing that in UAE, Abu Dhabi, what will you be telling him? Is the commander-in-chief, the box stop on his table. All the killings stop on his table. When this thing happens, we always get press statement. We feel your pain. The president condemns. The president this. You know those nice statements. I feel as if they kept some copies since the days of Obasanjo, Yaradua, Jonathan, Buhari, they kept statement. And Buhari will say, I'm aware. Somebody was telling each person's statement in line. What should he do it? How does he to have abated?
I want to remove the president from this.
Why?
Because the president has appointees.
But he's the commander-in-chief.
Yes, the appointees should be able to work and report to the commander-in-chief. The commander-in-chief will not be everywhere.
If there are no results like what we are having now, should the commander-in-chief be calling a meeting?
Now, the commander-in-chief, you see, the problem we have, managing Nigeria is not just about going about insecurity. You have just mentioned one that is taking him to where he has gone now.
Abu Dhabi.
That's a big problem also. My concern with the insecurity in Nigeria is what I'm telling you now. We normally say in the security sector that security is everybody's problem. We are all concerned, everybody. It is not just the president. The president is not even more concerned like our individual self, who are always the everyday victim. So for me, what the president should be doing about security in Nigeria is very basic and simple. If only he will have the courage to do it.
Okay, what's it?
Please, Nigeria is ripe enough, first and foremost, to allow security, private security gas operators to bear arms. So that if you are coming to pick me in my house as a kidnapper, you will know that I'm ready for you. It will be the first to shoot or first to die. By so doing, when you are coming, get ready. I can bet you that that will put the situation down. There's so much gun in America. Why is there no kidnapping? There's so much gun in most of these developed. Why is there no kidnapping? Because you don't just break into somebody's house and you expect that the person will welcome you with a cup of tea. The person will be welcoming you with a bullet, or one of his neighbors is already at his window to pick you out. But we don't have that here.
But can we allow guns being private?
Oh, it's gone not here already. What are we saying? The amount of small arms in this country, they are more than any other African country, including South Africa, where gun is a little bit, liberalized. What are we talking about? There's so much gun in this country already. The criminals are having it. Who says that it's only the criminal that should have access to gun? Look, there are so much guns in the barracks. Why is there no, shooting in the barracks? Well, when you have a gun, we will be disciplined enough to know that we should respect ourselves. You will respect me, I will respect you. Because we will not have the monopoly of shooting. You will not have it. No one person has the monopoly of shooting. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I'm following you.
Government should allow people to bear arms. Those who have the capacity to bear arms should bear arms. I'm just giving you one scenario in Edo State, where a young man, because by virtue of his being a vigilante member, had access to a gun, he was able to defend himself. Now, how many people have that privilege and opportunity? Give it to them. Even these young men that we are saying, politicians are only afraid of their lives. You know why? If a politician campaigns that he's coming to do something and then we vote for him, he didn't do it. One day a young man will take a gun and go and blow his head. That's what they are afraid of. That's why they don't want to license gun. It's not because we are going to use it on ourselves. It's because politicians and the thieves that are looting the country's
now you have in-depth military knowledge. What about our intelligence gathering? When they planned all of this, we appeared not to be aware. The U.S. will wake up and tell you, all our citizens in Nigeria, there will be attack in the next 1 week. True to their worst, there will be attack. All our citizens in this country, be worried. They give you standard, verifiable information. But in our case, these guys strike.
My dear.
Armed robbers kidnap.
Those information that the U.S. are giving, they are not the ones sitting down here to gather the information. It is me and you that gather the information.
But they pay for it.
Of course.
They pay for it.
Of course.
If they have someone spying for them here, the person, they pay, they infiltrate.
It's not spying. We work officially for them. Yes. They are no more getting that level. You see, let me tell you what America has done. Through this, you said that they even when Trump saying he's fighting, you said Discreetly, they are still funding so many things where they employ staff, they employ security details, they employ security experts like me who have consulted for an organization for the past 10 years on, security management. Let me tell you, they pay for it, like you said. But we, the owners of that information, we are the ones that are not using our information. Is it that the information is available to America, is not available to us here? No. Our intelligence personnel,
But are you not also worried? Let's look at what the Trump strike in Sokoto. The Nigerian government is saying we gave them the information.
Yeah.
And they struck from either Ghana or somewhere.
From Equatorial Guinea.
From Equatorial Guinea. They struck into Sokoto.
Yes.
And we have our military here.
No.
Is something not wrong?
Something is definitely wrong. You and I.
Or so many things are wrong, not just something. So many things are wrong, not just
so many things are wrong that everything goes back to the politicians. Look, in Trump's or in American system, everybody has his own layer of authority. That's why I said remove the president from this just now. What I'm supposed to do as a policeman on the street, I won't be waiting for the president to come and tell me, go ahead and do it. I remember Musa, the Minister for Defense, shortly before he was removed as, CDS, he made a statement in Jos. He said he was addressing the soldiers, and he said, you know your level of authority and command. Don't wait for me to come and start telling you whether you should defend yourself or whether you should shoot at an enemy that you are convinced is an enemy. We all know these things. They are basic lessons in the academy. But the truth of the matter is that the politicians are here to make sure that that doesn't work. That is the big problem that we have. That's why sometimes I look at Musa now, I just shake my head, and I'll be wondering if he will be able to perform as a soldier. Because the politicians will tell you, hey, calm down. Like you can hear the Senate president. According to him, he was cracking a joke on the floor of the Senate. But to me, I didn't see it as a joke. When he was telling the Musa that he should remove his military toga and put on agbada and come and relate to them as politicians. He was not cracking a joke as far as I'm concerned.
He was sending a message.
He was sending a message. And that's exactly what our problem is.
So now on a final note, it appears to be escalating and we need to solve it. What do you think we should do in the immediate to actually put a stop to the kidnappings, the killings, and the massive underreported onslaught of killings in most northern states?
I've told you the basic solution that Sule Lamido applied. There is a lot of wisdom in that solution.
Are the monarchs not also afraid?
Huh?
Are the monarchs not also afraid?
Afraid of who? When you give them the marching order, they will now have a choice to make whether to save or lose their throne.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peter Andomi. You've been our guest this morning, sharing your thought on security. He raised the fundamental fact that the monarchs must be brought in to ensure that their communities are safe, and that the general security, everyone just needs to wake up, and we should not deceive ourselves. Not all kidnappers are herdsmen. Some are likely indigenous kidnappers, and citing one in his community in Edo State. Thank you very much. We pray for the best of the country. Okay, on that note, we take you straight to our Lagos Network Center, where my colleague is standing by to actually take us through from this end. A wonderful morning again. We are handing over to you in Lagos.
Many thanks to you. We're still on TMI this beautiful morning. I am Reselina, and our guests this morning that will be helping us analyze to this topic is Honorable Said Ajadi, Abga Chieftain. Accord. Sorry, apologies. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Nigerians. I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's always a
Honorable
pleasure.
Said. Thank you for always coming. Happy New Year. Yeah. I mean, this is the first time we're seeing for the year 2026.
You know, I'm talking about. All good. All good.
Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure is mine.
So early 2027 campaign, are Nigerians politicians breaking the law or testing its limits? That is our topic for today. We're going to be talking about that on this table this morning. Across Nigeria today, political activities that strongly resemble campaigns for the 2027 elections are unfolding, even though the law clearly forbids open campaigning until 150 days before polling. INEC has warned parties against this premature effort and also noted that the official timetable hasn't been released yet, while some political parties have already started campaigning, for the forthcoming 2027 election. But enforcement is limited because the Electoral Act currently lacks clear punishment for early campaigning. This trend has sparked debate among legal experts, civil society, and political actors, raising questions about fairness, governance priorities, and integrity of the electoral process as we move towards 2027. Mr. Honorable Jadi, we've been seeing some, campaigning early. It's against the law, right? Campaigning before, you're supposed to start campaigning 150 to the day of election. And some political parties have been seen campaigning. And critics argue that early campaigning shifts attention away from urgent governance issues, that is insecurity in the country, economic and public services. And you think what these critics or what citizens are saying are true? Because at this point, we have problems in the country that we're supposed to be facing. Handling, especially insecurity, has been a major problem, and it's still a problem. And now, election is still in 2027. We just entered 2026. And political parties, they've already started campaigning. What would you have to say about that?
It's all a waste of the citizens' time, if you ask me.
Waste of the citizens' time. Okay.
Yes. Because you see, we've elected people in 2023. The politicians, they've not allowed them to do their job. For me, I talked about this last year. All we were mentioning last year was 2027. All we analyzed on ITV was 2027 last year. We jumped to 2026, and I told you, or maybe it was Joshua, I was telling, the reality of where we are going to find ourselves in 2026. Mind you, in 2025, we did not achieve up to 50% of 2025 budget. We're carrying over. We've carried over since 2024 because there was no money. And that's why the government was borrowing. I'm an accountant. There's no rocket science. When it was Obasanjo's time, it was 85% of our budget that we were using to pay recurrent expenditure. Now we have reduced in this government a little. Under Buhari, we were borrowing to pay salaries and subsidies. Now, politicians have thrown caution to the wind and heating up the polity. They're not doing the right thing because they are wasting Nigeria's time. You mentioned three things. You mentioned security, education, and health. These are paramount issues.
Yeah.
The people that died in the accident of Joshua is an embarrassment to Nigeria because there's no first responder. There has to be a first responder at every 10 kilometers, nationwide. First priority, health. There has to be 5-star, 3-star, 1-star hospitals all around Nigeria. Important, compulsory. So security, you're paying governors. The president or presidency or federal pays governors every month security allowance. Nobody's asking the governor of his state what he's doing with the security allowance.
Currently we saw a recent insecurity issue in Edo State, Ekpo more precisely. At this point, the people are coming out. They're actually calling on the governor, not even the president.
It is important because the funding now is humongous, doing nothing in the society. So the reality is these subnationals, governors and local governments. If EFCC can say to us that a commissioner was arrested giving bandits, allegedly, $9 million, through a state, and the state governor is not aware, so to speak, of the kind of funds that are being paid to bandits in his state, and because some of us have brains to think, since the inception of Boko Haram, ISWAP, or bandits, or whatever you call the names, they've never entered that state to attack anybody. One time. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria to enter that state. So for me, that governor should be asked questions. Now he's saying that he has immunity. The bandits cannot operate in a state if the fourth security person of that state is not sleeping,
so what you're
or
saying,
not compromised.
What you're saying now, Honorable Said, that these bandits are working with the government.
I believe so strongly now that we have to troubleshoot from home. There is no rocket science. I have been to Gusau. I have been to Funtua. I have been to Kaduna. I schooled in Niger, Mina. Every time I hear bandits striking in Mina, it's as if I should go and join military and go and face them. Honestly speaking, it's as if people are sleeping on their responsibilities. What does it take a governor to send surveillance around the state with the money that is being given by federal government? I can run surveillance 24/7 with the money I'm going to be given by federal government. That's why I contest the election, because we're wasting our time. Between you and I, the politicians are wasting our time. And we also are wasting our own time. Because we are not being sincere with each other. We are lying to each other. And for as long as you continue to lie, you cannot see a different result. We're only deceiving each other. If the president is releasing money to people, and you are not holding them accountable for the money, okay, look at the situation where a bomb was blown in Bodija, Ibadan. Explosion 3 years ago. The governor is asking for funds from federal government, 50 billion, and it was released 30 billion. Okay, if there is no fight amongst each other, we would not have heard. The governor does not see it fit to tell the people of his state that the federal government has given him money for the explosion of his own citizens that died. And you left that money in a bank for 2 years. Doing what? And it's supposed to be a subvention for the people that lost their lives and the people that lost their livelihood in that state. And you kept it in a bank for 2 years. They should remove all this issue of saying that there is a law against arresting a governor. All governors can be arrested.
So, Honorable Said, if I should get what you're saying.
Yes.
You're actually saying that all the fault, or what is happening in the country, is the fault of the governance and also
the governance, period. Okay.
And not the president.
It has nothing to do with the president. Okay, go and look at the summit. We are here talking about issues. Did you see the representation of the president in Abu Dhabi? Fantastic speech. Look, there has to be support. There has to be patriotism. There has to be togetherness. There has to be love. Love only brings good things. Hatred brings bad things. That's why you have the degeneration of the value system in Nigeria. There's no value anymore. What do we have as value? Nothing.
So let's talk about INEC.
Decadence from beginning to the end. Started from the time the military left, the so-called the military that we put as president destroyed the whole of Nigeria. And president now wants to come back and says that he wants to contest the election again. When you are heating up the polity, you are not allowing the people that we elected to do their job. Why is the Senate not back now? The Senate is supposed to be back now to start to help the president get his ambassador for the job of 2026. They are still on holiday. So how do you expect, how do you blame the governor of the president for that? He gave them this before he left. You are not, you see, governance is not rocket science. It's about doing your duty. Your collectors, it's the same night. They are not contributing to. Once you quickly send that bill back to the president and say, okay, we have done the screening of these people, let them go and start their work. How many months do they have to represent the government?
So the government and the people are the problem.
We are denying ourselves the truth. There's no rocket science. Everything starts from home. If you fail to train your children, the results will be taught outside. That's Yoruba.
All right.
So we have to focus.
Honorable Ajadin.
Please.
We have to focus.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's talk about INEC. INEC has said that it lacks the power to punish early campaigns. Is this a failure of the law or an enforcement?
That is also part of, they said the Senate, the House, they said they have reviewed the INEC laws. The rubbish. We don't have standards. That's what I just said earlier. This that is happening is showing all the loopholes in Nigeria.
So what are we supposed to do at this point to set standards?
He's supposed to rejig everything. As soon as the president comes back, if he likes, I'm not the president, but if he likes, rejig your system. Put in people that can talk. Put in people that can advocate. Put in people that love Nigeria. To start with, the love of the country, patriotism. It is enough rubbish when you have to leave the shores of Nigeria and the whole world treats you like a criminal. Even when you have resources. It's enough rubbish. So ambassadors to speak. We need the ambassadors, citizens of foreign countries, talk to the humiliating Nigerians. We need the ambassadors to change the narrative for Nigeria. They cannot do everything. We need to do stuff.
I mean, they just selected new ambassadors.
They have not screened them. It's been last year, November.
Yeah, last year, November.
That's a long time. Because they are supposed to have been in their offices 2 years ago. But because of the president trying to manage resources and not borrow further, he's now been able to pay. But that's why he's allowing them to start to... It's all about introspection. Because he's saying that, my own thinking, that, okay, if they had been there, we are going to be paying money. Salaries is the problem of the country. It's about 85% the current expenditure, whether you like it or not. So now saying that they are extending resources to tax and all of that, it makes a lot of sense. Because we are very free voting as well. Yeah, and money on the wrong things. You want to oppress. You want to show that resources are in your hands. Why don't you build libraries? Why don't you build hospitals? Why must you buy a Kulinan of 2 billion or 3 billion to drive on the road that can crash anyhow? The same way Joshua left Lagos, he couldn't get to Shagamu. But if you have hospitals, those guys wouldn't die. They wouldn't. Because if you have hospital fantastic in Shagamu, or you have one in Ogun State, that is fantastic. All this will happen. And you have first responders that can move the half-dead people into the hospital to save lives. You don't have all of that. And you say you're governing, and you're hearing billions. You are doing nothing. The governors are wasting our time. Face the reality. Short of Lagos. Short of Lagos. Where do you have governance? If a man can tell you, I have not spent your money, I've kept your money in a bank for 2 years, is that not... There's some set up clinics over as well for mental health. Check all the governors, the senators, the House of... Everybody needs to be checked. Are we okay? What are we doing about governance? If the Awolowos and all of them did it like that, we will be here today.
So the governors need to
need to be checked. There has to be another... That's why I wanted to go into the Senate. Because if I was in the Senate 20 years ago, Nigeria would not be like this. I'm telling you. Because we would have looked ourselves in the eyes and we have fought. If we need to punch each other, we punch. And Nigeria must stay.
Honorable Side.
That's why I know that God did it for a purpose. Because I faced the so-called Adedubus and all of them in Oyo State. And where are they now? Go and see the legacy. Nothing. Because there's no brain. There's nothing about love for Nigeria.
So you feel these people are there just for themselves?
For nonsense. That is why I did not take House of Rep. Because I cannot be facing 365 people that have no love for Nigeria except to collect allowance and do nonsense. Look at them. What have they done differently? What has the house, the first house, the second house, the third house, fourth? What have they done differently for Nigerians? Nothing.
Honorable
reality.
Honorable Said, thank you.
Security okay. Is us. We need to check ourselves. Governors like those ones that I mentioned, that have never been bombed before, and all the states around them have been bombed.
Okay,
I'm a trained psychologist.
Let's talk about we are talking about the early campaigns, Honorable Said.
Yes, I'm telling you what turned to that.
Yeah,
because they're only interested in themselves. They're not interested in Nigeria.
I know.
Because if they are interested in Nigeria, what are you campaigning about? The people that have been given the job, they have not finished the job. They have not even done halfway. Look at Fubara. Rivers State. They've told you first time. But respect yourself. Respect the people there. You did not listen. Second time, you know, I talked about this last year. I said to you, we are talking about governance. Campaigning is also about governance. Why are you desperate campaigning now? The people are there. They have not done their job. Now you are back again. They begged for you. You are born to APC. You are still blabbing. It's not about blabbing. It's not about talking. It's about action. You are there for 4 years. You have not shown that you have been in that position. You cannot even have a rapport with your assembly. You are fighting them. Is that governance? It's madness. That's why I said every state was, as a matter of fact now, set up mental health issues for people that want to govern.
Honorable Said, it's basically just you or maybe the people from Edo State that are blaming the government at this point over insecurity issues. A lot of persons are blaming our president, saying that, some political parties, which is our main topic for today, have started campaigning for the forthcoming 2027 election. We still haven't tackled insecurity in the country. Remember when the president and the Senate approved deploying troops to Benin Republic to help them, and a lot of persons came out at that point saying that we have our problems in Nigeria. Why don't we solve our problems first before helping our neighboring country?
That wisdom of the president, which I share it. You know why? You need to understand that Benin Republic is an appendage of Nigeria. Yes, it's a sovereign state, but whatever affects Benin Republic will affect us, because between Lagos and Badagry and Cotonou is just 2 hours drive. So I can leave my house in the morning and tell the driver to come and pick me in my house in Ikeja, and I'm in the Benin Republic before 9. One road that. It's a strategic move. As a matter of fact, there are so many strategies for Benin Republic to affect Nigeria that I know we can do. So it's important that we save Benin Republic as a democratic state.
I made a lot of people.
Don't you understand?
I understand.
Thank you. Our own problem started not today. Our problem started with the fact that the president right now, I can tell you for free, has the facts of where the problems are. Intelligence now, after 2 years, he knows where the problems are. Maybe politically, there might be issues in reacting or acting on those problems at the level told. Take, for instance, Zulum, the governor of Borno State, did an interview last week. I was saying that. Maybe for New Year and all of that, I was saying that they are going to put an end to issues of terrorism completely in Borno State. That's a man. That's a tough guy. So that means there must be an accord any which way. Zulum started with terrorism, mind you. Probably going to end with terrorism. Because the people that started terrorism started from his own state. And those people are now individuals. They are no more having any immunity. Because when you remember how terrorism started, some governors, that's why I keep going back, some governors knew. And there were tools in their hands. Nothing started. So you cannot tell that a governor does not know what's happening. It's a lie. You are not fit to be there. So is it that you are compromised because of the money you are stealing, or because your citizens don't even, they're so ignorant? Because there's a difference between education and knowledge. Nigerians are very educated, but the way we are acting now is showing that we are not enlightened of the challenge ahead. So they're making their noise. They are making noise. The people that are campaigning now only making noise. Yes. The real players will emerge after. Because don't forget, all the parties, there has been no primary timetable. So what now is just a waste of our time. That's why I said to you, we need to go back to work. Stop complaining about hunger. Work. Whatever you can do with your hands, do. Whatever you can think of, initiate.
So you're talking about the citizens.
Yes. Let's forget about governors, government now. The rain fell 1st or 2nd of January. some of us need to go back to the farm. Yam does not need rain, but you can make the heaps now and plant the yam. By April, May, you are having even in your sacks at home. So one man will not carry the streets of Lagos and be telling me one tuber of yam is 5,000 naira. Let's face reality. It is not governance.
So we the citizens
need to introspect. Why are we so lazy? Why have we become so lazy? Buhari was abused when he was a president saying the youths are lazy. How old were the likes of Buhari, Obasanjo, Babangida and all of them when they became generals? How old were they? 20s and 30s. Now we are in our 50s. We cannot even bite, talk less of back. And you're now telling me that the youths, when they're all interested in things you have in front of you and how to snip, it's all waste of time. So we need to now look inward and challenge ourselves. When we were in secondary school, everybody had a farm. I had a farm. So all youths must have a farm. When you're on holiday, if you cannot go abroad, your father cannot give you tickets to go abroad with Nigerian Airways or British Airways. You will go to a farm and plant. It is that food that you have planted. You will be glad and you will share it with your family. Relatives will take some. Daddy and mommy will take some. And you can do whatever you like with the remain because you planted it. Even if you want to sell it. But where do you have that now? How many families have not sold their farmland to the Chinese now? And you are blaming government. Nigerians have gone back to slavery by themselves. The people that are going to be born this year in the next 20 years, they cannot lay claim to Nigeria. Because the Chinese are doing everything now. Everything, including planting your yam. Including planting your yam and selling to you because they don't eat it. So how smart are we?
Honorable Said, you made mention earlier about the price of fuel being reduced.
Yes, and people about it. That's what I've been complaining since January. And Dangote put it at 699. And there are still some people selling at 800 and something. They should be jailed. Come and justify that 200 and something for me. DPR and all of this, maybe they don't have. They Nigerians that are looking for job, put uniform on their body. Let them sanction the big men. They are just doing nonsense. Someone will sit down in his house and be producing Maltina and come and sell in the street of Lagos. And he's not jailed, he's not arrested. And some people are dying of kidney problem. What be time people that have that chance when I'm in any seat of authority?
Okay,
we need to implement the law.
We need
it's
to
not, yes.
We need to
implement the law so that whoever is doing something wrong, put him in a jail. If you are a bandit, you are not supposed to go to jail. You are supposed to be killed. Whoever has killed must be killed, even in the scriptures.
Let's talk about...
Then you are not releasing bandits, you are joining them with military men, and you want a solution.
Honorable Ajadi, let's talk about this bandits issue. The fact that we saw earlier that they were negotiating with bandits. And it got me asking, I got a lot of Nigeria asking, are we supposed to be negotiating
with
bandits?
That's what I'm saying to you. I'm talking about... Now you're talking. Now you're talking. That's why I said to you, government in the subnationals are compromised. Nobody can. See, if I had the opportunity of being a military man, it would have been a different ballgame. That's why I respect the president for bringing back Musa as a minister for defense. Because Nigeria has invested in Musa, and Musa needs to deliver back to Nigeria what Nigerians expect from him. He knows what is happening. So he can help us. Whoever needs to be caned or dealt with, let him be dealt with. We saved several nations. Have you forgotten? The same Nigerian army. We saved several nations in Africa.
Honorable Ajadi,
Abacha used to lead.
I quickly want to ask this question. We all know that insecurity is in this country. And you've been talking about farm. Like, we need to go to farm. How do we go to farms when there is insecurity?
Thank you very much. The insecurity you're talking about is in some areas, it's not in the whole nation. Southwest, what are we doing with the farms? It's all bush. It's all bush.
I mean, scared.
They're about being scared. I have farm. I have, hold on, I have a stead in my name. A whole village that I bought. What are you talking about? And let me tell you, do you know that are working there? People from Benue leave their state because of their expertise in farming. and come to Ibadan and work with us.
Honorable
What has
Said.
happened to the youth in Ibadan
Honorable
that cannot
Said,
go to farm?
Honorable Said.
Please
It's not
tell
like
me.
people do not want to go.
Oh.
Not like people do not want to go to farm. I mean, a lot of people are scared.
I am telling you
Insecurity.
from experience now, you give an Egede $500,000 and you tell him, I want hips for about 10,000 hips. I give a young man, I give him the same $500,000 and I give a time. Like you and I, Egede will finish that in 1 week. The man from Southwest is still struggling with it in the month and he hasn't finished. And he has, hold on, and he has spent. So that money is not coming back. Account, because you're a public figure, start to harass you. You cannot. No, it's about work. Ethics and attitudinal change.
Honorable
You see-
Said, do you know that even in the Southwest that you just mentioned, people are still scared. There's still insecurity.
And the
there.
Hausa man come from Kano and from Kaduna and lease land between Ibadan and Ijebu-Ode.
Talking about the Middle Belt,
Hold
Kwara
on,
State
hold
and
on.
all.
Let me give you analysis of
Okay.
what I know. And his Hausa he's not known. He lives in Sabo, maybe he sleeps on a bike. But the little money he makes, he leases a land and plants what? He plants sugarcane and watermelon. He comes to Ibadan, brings it back, and sells a watermelon for 3,000 to 5,000. Okay? And sells his sugarcane every day because Hausas love sugar. So they love sugarcane. And he finishes in the whole of Sabo. What am I telling you? There are several economies that are not that. That the people that are so-called illiterate are making so much money from right now. As a matter of fact, people that didn't go to school are making more money in Nigeria than people that went to school now.
Are you talking about the watermelon, sugar cane?
I am telling you the kind of resources.
Those
A man that is doing Hausa is doing security here in Lagos.
Remember her?
My security in the house. While he's doing security in the month, he's making a cap like this that I will buy eventually if he gets to my standard. Okay? Now when it's rainy season, he comes to me and tells me, sir, I need to go back to the village. What's happening? I will bring my younger brother or one family to come and stay here. He's going to farm. So since he's not here in Lagos, he's farming. By the time he's harvesting, he's packing his tomato to mile 12.
Honorable Said.
After selling, he's buying a canter that will be moving goods back home.
Thank
He's already
you.
a millionaire in your stead.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot to talk about,
Thank
and there's
you.
a lot to do.
I mean-
I know we don't have time, but the people that are making noise on the billboards and doing their adverts about politics now, they're a waste of time.
All right. Thank you
Okay?
so much.
But
Honorable-
Nigeria needs to wake up.
Thank you so much, Honorable Said.
The
Ajayi.
pleasure is mine always.
Thank you for always showing up.
The pleasure is mine always.
All right,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nigerians, for joining our Lagos Network studio this beautiful morning on TMI. I am Marcelina. Would be handing over to Benin for the continuation on TMI. Just stay with us.
News updates. I am Chukufum Nanya Digwe. Now, late Pa George Osaige has been described as an elder statesman who lived a fulfilled and impactful life. Children of the deceased and guests made this known during a social dance organized to climax his funeral rites. Wellington Akodeja reports that the social dance attracted the children of the deceased from within Edo State and the diaspora, who gathered to pay their final respects to their father.
The Ogida Barracks fifth venue of the ceremony was a sight to behold as children of the deceased and guests converged to celebrate the lifer times of late Pa George Osage. The musician thrilled guests with melodious songs as the children of the deceased took turns on the dance floor. Some guests, including Mr. Egiato, described late Pa George Osage as a perfect gentleman who contributed immensely to the society.
A wonderful man. He's a father to everybody, a community leader.
He lived a fulfilled life, I would say.
The eldest son of the deceased, Deacon Benjamin Ohehe Osage, his daughter Gladys Asemota, and other family members recalled fond and memorable moments shared with their late father.
My late father was a caring father. I love children and their education. That is why his life and God do 419.
My father is a good man. He loves all of us. He takes care of us.
Was a jovial man. I really miss him. May so rest in peace.
Take his time to know your pain and how you have been taken care of. It takes out his time to make sure that you are all right, no matter the situation.
He's a very good man and also a kind man that everybody around him loves also. He loves dancing. He loves singing.
Late Pa George Osage, a respected community leader, passed away at the age of 119 years. From Benin, Wellington Akodeja, ITV News.
Moving on, some natives of Ekpoma in Eastern West local government area have condemned the destruction of property by protesters during a demonstration against incessant kidnapping and the recent killing of a student who was abducted and later murdered. Francisca Igenegbale reports that the palace of the Onoje of Ekpoma was not spared as it was vandalized and occupants chased out. The report is presented by Efosa Nwangwe.
The protest by students over the abduction and subsequent killing of their colleague initially began peacefully. However, it later took a drastic turn when the protesters blocked the major road leading to the northern part of the country. The situation further degenerated as the protest spread into the main town. The palace of the Onoje of Ekpoma, His Royal Highness Anthony Abumeri, was attacked and severely vandalized. Some occupants of the palace who fled for their lives upon sighting the protesters described the experience as terrifying.
Destroy everything in compound to the office windows.
Coming to the palace of the Royal Highness of Ekpoma Kingdom to do destruction, I don't think this is a solution to the problem.
Group of boys, over I can't even name number, multitude. They already invaded the palace, broke the palace door, the gates, and they invaded the palace up to the inner side.
This surprised us, you understand? Because no be here, the Kinabi people they stay.
The wife of the Onoje of Ekpoma was not as fortunate as she was reportedly assaulted by the protesters while properties worth millions of naira were destroyed. The Onoje of Ekpoma, His Royal Highness Anthony Abumeri, who was not at the palace during the incident, expressed deep sorrow over the attack and lamented the extent of damage done to the palace and his family property. According to him, he had earlier addressed the protesters before leaving the palace, only to be informed later that they had returned and attacked his residence. The chairman of Eastern West local government area, Honorable Blessing Egodari, visited the palace following the incident and strongly condemned the violent acts.
As 2 months ago, the thing was more than this. We are working to some level to reduce this, so that to take it easy. Those ones that are doing condemned iron, we have banned them.
Meanwhile, authorities have called for calm and restraint as the investigation into the incident continues. From Ekpoma, Efosa Nwangwe, ITV News.
Now, Edo State's Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has expressed sadness over the death of his special advisor on Arewa matters, Alhaji Danjuma Garba, who passed away on Saturday afternoon after a brief illness. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Dr. Patrick Ibujile, Governor Okpebholo described Alhaji Garba as a dedicated public servant and a vital bridge between the state's government and the Arewa community in Edo State. He commended his commitment to fostering peace, unity, and mutual understanding among all residents of the state as exemplary, describing the late special advisor as a loyal aide, a tireless community leader, and a man of integrity whose counsel was invaluable to the administration. The governor, on behalf of the government and people of Edo State, extends his condolences to the Garba family and the Arewa community. He also directed that prayers be offered for the repose of the soul of the deceased at different mosques, while encouraging the deceased's family to find the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. Moving on, the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, will on Wednesday, January 14, sign a new agreement aimed at improving the university system and maintaining stability in public universities. This was disclosed in an official invitation issued by the Federal Ministry of Education through the University Education Department and sent to Vice Chancellors and Registrars of Federal Universities. The agreement includes a proposed 40% salary increase for academic staff and improved pension benefits. Under the pension plan, professors will retire at 70 and receive pensions equal to their full annual salaries, a demand ASU has pushed for over the years. The deal also introduces a new funding arrangement for universities covering research, libraries, laboratories, equipment, and staff capacity development. The circular dated January 5, 2025, described the signing as an important step in government-ASU relations. In another report, former governor of Bayelsa State and senator representing Bayelsa West, Saraki Dixon, has dismissed reports suggesting that he defected from the People's Democratic Party to the African Democratic Congress, describing the claims as false and misleading. Dixon refuted the speculation in a statement issued by his media aide, Ajuri Daniels, stressing that he remains firmly in the PDP and has not joined any other political party. According to the statement, the Bayelsa lawmaker is currently observing a period of mourning following the death of the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Lawrence Igujapo, and has consequently withdrawn from active political engagements. While acknowledging that he remains keenly interested in the political developments, the statement said Dixon assured that after the burial, he would consult widely with friends and political allies across the country before making any political decision, which would be formally announced. Now that's the size of our package on ITV News Updates. I am Chukufum Nanya Digwe. Thank you so much for watching. Up next is TMI Socials. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome. This is TMI Socials. I am Nanya Digwe, and here's what's making waves across the social media space. Now, to open the curtain on the program, we begin with the unrest in Ekpoma. Now, protests broke out in Ekpoma on January 10 over rising kidnappings, with residents pulling down APC billboards, blocking roads, including the Benin-Abuja highway, and chanting against the federal government. The unrest followed recent abductions, including the killing of medical graduate Tahir Abu Emohuye. Security forces responded with raids and arrests, during which a 32-year-old Usaige Ibrahim was wounded by gunfire and now under investigation. Now, tensions again escalated on January 11 after CCTV footage showed another kidnapping, prompting Governor Monday Okpebholo to call for calm as residents demand decisive action against criminals. Now, let's first get to see the video of the kidnapping that has spiked the new space of protest going on in Ekpoma, and then we'll look into the story a little more. Now, you got to see two footage there. The first one being the kidnapping that has ignited the protest action that happened in Ekpoma. And you also got to see a snippet of the protest action. Now, there's another video that's circulating around the social media space of the DPO of Ekpoma actually reacting to protesters. Let's get to see his comments, and then we'll take reactions.
I have told them no violence. Let me listen. They have told us people that will not listen to anyone. No, sir, we appreciate you. For example, you are here now standing like a father. Meaning.
So now that's the video that has also been circulating against the backdrop of all that has been happening in Ekpoma of late. Now let's see how the social media space is taking this news. For the first reaction, it says, it's from Daniel Rega, and it says, Ekpoma is bleeding, raise awareness. Let's see another comment now. This commenter says, if the 2027 elections are free and fair, this APC-led government of Tinubu will not understand what hit it months after those elections, but they might be banking on other unorthodox strategies to take that election. Let's see another comment. This commenter says, this is exactly what the youth were protesting against just yesterday. Instead of investigating this critical issue, the police were busy bursting into hostels and apartments, arresting students. Now, this has happened again. Our security operatives' misplaced priorities are putting lives at risk. Let's see another comment as regards this issue. This commenter says, I totally condemn this action by the youth. How can someone promise you insecurity during campaign, now fulfilling his promise, and you are protesting? Where is the justice? Let's see the final comment on this story. This one says, staying alert is not even the solution. While it's very much encouraged, what would being alert do if you are surrounded? The government has actually failed in the area of security. Well, those are the reactions from netizens as regards the unrest in Ekpoma. Now let's see the second story, which happens to be that Chimamanda Adichie, who is a very famous writer, both in Nigeria here, and she's put Nigeria on the map globally for her very impeccable literature works. Now, she's lost her son, And, you know, she has also come out to comment on it. The author, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, has accused a Lagos private hospital, Eurocare, of negligence following the death of her son, Nkanu Nnamdi Esege, on January 6 during sedation ahead of medical procedures. Now, the hospital has denied wrongdoing, saying protocols were followed. In response, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu ordered an independent investigation by HIFAMA as the case reignites public concern over patient safety and accountability in Nigeria's private healthcare system. Now, this is a very heartbreaking one. Her 21-month-old son has been lost, and what she claims is negligence by Eurocare, a Lagos State hospital. Let's see the reactions now that have followed this. This first reaction says, 2 prominent Nigerians came to Nigeria for the holidays and their lives turned upside down, putting their families in disarray. Chimamanda and Anthony Joshua. Even if you have money in Nigeria, Nigeria can happen to you and mess you up. It's not about money, it's about sanity and survival. This is extremely sad. May Nigeria never happen to us. Let's see another reaction now. This commenter says, this is truly heartbreaking. I pray the comfort of the Lord for your family. Please accept my sincere condolence. No parents should have to bury their child or children. Let's see another comment. This netizen says, anyone who tells you just have money, you will enjoy Nigeria is either dishonest or lacks the capacity to understand that money doesn't guarantee quality life. There is no amount of money that can save you from systemic failure. Nkanu died as a result of medical negligence, carelessness, and gross incompetence, a reflection of the failed medical system. If his parents didn't bring him home for Christmas, there is 90% chance he would still be alive. Let's see the final comments. Well, this commenter says, everyone reading this sad news is aware that the Nigerian health sector lacks many health professionals and the sector lacks adequate funding, training needed for sustainable health services, and has deteriorated over the last couple years. I'm curious, though, about not cancelling all plans and heading back to Baltimore for this child. Even the useless leaders who have destroyed the health sector quickly travel overseas because of cold, flu, or small illnesses. That's the final comment we'll be taking on this very sad news of the loss of Nkanu Nnamdi, who happens to be the son of Chimamanda Adichie. Now, our final story happens to be from the sports scene as Nigeria's Super Eagles advanced to AFCON 2025 semi-finals with a 2-0 victory over Algeria in Marrakesh. Victor Osimhen opened the scoring in the 47th minute off a precise Bruno Onyemaechi cross and later set up Akko Adams for the second goal 10 minutes later. Nigeria controlled possession and created the bulk of scoring chances, remaining the tournament's only unbeaten team, despite Algeria's protest over a handball penalty claim that went unreviewed. Osimhen was named man of the match for his decisive contributions. Next, the Super Eagles will face host Morocco, keeping hopes alive for Nigeria's 4th AFCON battle. Now let's take a moment to celebrate. Now that was the goal by Akko Adams following Victor Osimhen's assist. Now let's get to see what the social media space is saying as regards this. This one says Victor Osimhen was the star of the show in Marrakesh, scoring the opening goal and assisting the second to take his tournament tally to an impressive 4 goals in 5 matches. The Galatasaray striker rose highest to power home a header just 2 minutes into the second half, capitalizing on a precise Calvin Bassey cross from the left. Now let's see another reaction. This one says, we are heading for the trophy and we are unstoppable. Let's see the next comment. This commenter says, Victor Osimhen and Akko Adams continue to be a lethal duo, with Osimhen unselfishly assisting Adams for the second goal. Nigeria has now scored 14 goals in 5 matches, maintaining their status as the most prolific attack in the competition. Let's see the final comments now. This one reads that felt like one of those nights where belief quietly beats reputation. Nigeria national team knocking out Algeria national team was not about dominance, it was about nerve. Nigeria stayed composed when the game got tense, accepted suffering without panic, and struck at the right moment. That is knockout football at its purest. Well, those are the comments celebrating Nigeria against the backdrop of their 2-0 victory against Algeria. Now, here's where we draw the curtain on TMI socials today. Thank you so much for watching. And from the whole TMI crew, I say thank you for watching. And thank you also to our insightful viewers who we had give their disposition on every discourse across our network centers. I am Chukwufum Nanya Digwe. Thank you for staying tuned in. Good morning.